No. Focus.
Ring, ring, ring.
Get serious. Be respectful.
Ring, ring, ring. Hero.
Yes.
Simps.
Respectful.
And virgins.
God damn it.
And welcome back to Krown's magical, sexy,
What the fuck?
and seductive.
What?
You spit on me! Okay.
Yeah, joke's on you today, Beezy. Anyways, welcome back to the Krown Crypto channel. I see Mr. 420. Holy shit, Mr. 420, one of the OGs of the cave. He says, what's up, what's up, what's up? Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited, so thrilled to be here right now. Share this moment with you guys. Exactly, man. I'm excited to be sharing this moment with you as well right now. And good morning to everyone out there. Good evening if you are in the Western Hemisphere. And I guess there's no other time zones in the world. Actually, probably Asian people are probably in the middle of their day. Good afternoon, Asian people of the world. People who are living... What? You can say... What the fuck? Is there something wrong with that? Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh, fuck off. There's nothing wrong with that. I could also say good morning, also white. If I say good morning, white people, that would sound kind of racist, actually. So maybe we do. Look, I'm just trying to cover all the different time zones because we're not time zone racists over here. We're trying to be inclusive. Okay, so just understand where we're coming from. And I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest from the deepest of my heart right now because we got plenty to talk about today with traditional markets actually influencing the good old Santa rally. There might be a little bit of Santa Claus rally action going on right here for end of year. Anyways, with that said, I do want to welcome everyone here. Holy shit, there's already 1,000 people. Already 1,000 fucking people. What the hell? What are you guys doing? You guys are watching. What are you guys doing right now? 350 likes on the video as well. That is just insane. We are reaching new all-time highs day by day, which is just I don't know what to make of this, but it is cool and I do appreciate it, of course, as well. And maybe at some point, I'll bring out the dictionary to actually rightfully express my thankfulness with that, as this is just massively generous. Anyways, we got plenty to talk about today, as I just had said. Oh, pin your message. Yes, I will pin your message, sir. There you go. Please read me, sir. Wow, great message, Elsa. Please read me, sir. Very, very nice right there. Anyways, holy shit, man. I see a ton of people in here right now. There he is, man. There he fucking is. All right, sweet. Let's get on over here into the Krown application. Of course, it can be found at app.krown.net. And what do we see? We see that the fear and greed index did bounce up from about a 16 read all the way up to a 25 read, still in the actually extremely fearful zone. And this is good stuff overall. So we've seen both open interest, leverage ratios, and now the fear and greed index come down significantly. So this is good for a reset. The question is when? When is the major lows going to be put in? As we've been looking at right here, you know, that $45,000 level is still looking pretty damn good. But of course, we can still spend some time within this region right here. And that means that, well, timing is of the essence. So other than that, I do see that there is some actually big winners in the last 24 hours. We do see that Tezos BitTorrent is again actually on the winners list. Near Protocol, Chainlink up there. Hey, Chainlink showing some fucking life, huh? Filecoin, Kusama, Monero, nice. All right, sweet. Nem, oh dear Lord. And for the OGs of the OGs of the OGs of this channel, you probably remember Nem blockchain now, don't you? Qtum and Axie Infinity actually round out the winners list right there. So good to see some familiar faces. And also we do see on the market data tab all of the most interesting things, all of the most interesting things going on right here. So I really want to dial this in right now because again, this is going to play into the long-term analysis, which I won't be going into super detail right here, but if you watch the videos over the weekend, this is good stuff that we're seeing right now. Again, doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't come back down below 50,000 bucks. That's very, very possible, but ultimately I do look for higher lows at this moment. Anyways, global funding rate is still negative actually, so you are getting paid to hold your long positions. Now, again, we did hit some pretty extremes from that major dump that we saw over the weekend. It was negative 0.02%, meaning that essentially long contract holders were getting paid to hold their positions, you know, a decent amount. You typically don't see it that deep for that long, especially in a macro uptrend, of which the last time we saw it even, you know, comparably deep was actually way back on over here in the May dump, where it actually was at about those same levels, negative 0.02. I think it got as far as negative 0.05. So that is obviously, you know, extremes, but it is good to see some, you know, somewhat of a reset of that, as, you know, you are getting, or more importantly, you're paying to hold your shorts right now. So that does put a little bit of pressure on late shorters, especially, and Bitcoin's bounced up, you know, significantly off the lows. I mean, if you're looking directly off the lows, about 10,000 bucks, although only a few people probably got to buy down around 42,000 bucks. And we do see that the global leverage ratio has shaved off a significant amount from the ultimate ultimate highs that we did see basically in November, steadily coming down since then, which is also a good sign as well. Can obviously come down a little bit more, and we do expect to come down a little bit more, but that can come multiple ways. And most importantly, we do see that the global open interest over here has come down an extreme amount from all the way at about 16.5 billion, now down to about 10.5 billion. Now we do see that it's actually bounced up from yesterday to today, about half a billion right there. Hey, fair enough. We do expect people to put back on positions, but this is a good reset overall. And then most importantly, and to kind of put a little bit of nuance on the leverage ratios, the exchange's net Bitcoin reserves have been steadily declining, and you can see the exchange's net flows again consistently negative and big numbers here. So this is 3 days of big flows out. We saw 17 or 18,000 taken out about 3 days ago. Then yesterday was about 18 to 20,000, I think it was again, and then yet again today we have another 13,500 coins being taken off exchange. So that is why the leverage ratio is actually kind of hard to get down, because right now, if you buy spot and then take it off, well, obviously the leverage ratio, could technically go up, even though very little or maybe even none leverage positions were added during that time. So I do think that adds a bit of nuance into it. And we did see the biggest liquidation spike over the weekend that we've seen basically since the last bull trap, actually, when Bitcoin played out that move from 53,000 all the way down to about $40,000 base. A lot of similarities between there. And then if we go into the third data tab over here with the fear and greed index, you can see that the fear and greed index actually dipped a little bit lower than what we did see on the last $40,000 low in September, that is. And we are starting to spend some legitimate time in here, as we did say was likely. So once we get to about 7 to 14 days within this extreme fearful zone, which we've been in now for almost about that time. In fact, almost about that time, that's when things do start to look a little bit better, at the very least for a nice bouncy bounce. And potentially some major bottoming action. Of course, the last macro low that we did see at $30,000, Bitcoin did spend about 3 months in the fearful zone, so it can go on for a little bit longer, but ultimately these are good signals. Anyways, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the price action charts. We're going to actually start it off with traditional markets today, because I do think that it is a little bit more relevant for right now. So what I want to talk about is SPY futures first. And then we'll kind of relate this to Bitcoin, obviously. But my whole sort of thesis on this market, and I'm sure that I'm certainly not the only person thinking this, so I can't claim victory for this. But basically, what we're looking at across all markets is one massive liquidity bubble, which is perpetuated by extremely easy access to funds right now, extremely easy financial conditions where interest rates are incredibly low. So borrowing money is probably some of the most easiest times in history. I mean, the only direction that they can go from now is like maybe negative. On top of that, the Fed is obviously injecting untold amount of money into the reverse repo markets each and every night. So that does increase and does essentially just, mean that all of the money managers kind of have to buy and whatnot. So that does kind of force markets to buoy up here. And what do we have on SPY? We have our next higher low right here. So yesterday we were coming into the day saying, hey, this one's very likely to trade back up to 4650. That was the 618 right there. But if we can close above the 4650 level, that would be above what I would consider the bull trappy area. And we're very likely going to test the highs after that. And that's exactly what we've gotten right now. And this is really, really good stuff, because it does imply that overall traditional markets are still bullish. And if traditional markets are still bullish, that does allow the lane for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to do something similar as well. So whilst I would be looking for a bit of a pullback based off the retest of your all-time highs, I mean, that's very, very common stuff. Ultimately, I am bullish on this chart long term, as long as you're especially above the 4620-ish level now. Great numbers right there. And of course, all of the higher term timeframes that we go to are just another reset. This is another higher low right here. Fucking crazy. We do have another drive of hidden bullish evidence populating. That could be confirmed as soon as Friday. And if you are an aggressive trader, you already look at this as confirmed by taking out last week's high. And then of course the monthly is, I mean, this is just a trap and up. So, all sort of downside targets are at least not relevant in my opinion any longer, as long as we're above 4620 in this case. And yes, short term very likely does pull back. And can that affect Bitcoin? Probably yes. Bitcoin does seem to trade with a higher beta in relationship to traditional markets on the downside, but to the upside, probably not. or at least not always that is true. So can't always be relying on that to the upside, but it does allow the opportunity for more risky assets to travel upwards and onwards. So I know that a lot of people, or at least a common thing in the past, was to look at as Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as the hedge against the traditional markets. That has just been unproven. And if anything, they're really, if anything, it's just been proven as no, they trade very lovingly with each other, mostly to the downside and to the upside. Not always in favor of Bitcoin, to be fair. Anyways, so this is overall good. And yes, I do expect that we do see new all-time highs before end of year for traditional markets, not for Bitcoin, but for traditional markets, very, very likely, which probably bodes well for Bitcoin coming into Q1 of 2022. Why do I say Q1 of 2022? Because that's when a lot of the asset managers and big hedge fund managers, that's when they're going to rebalance their portfolios and when they're going to get new inflows. So that is likely if they are going to, allocate that to Bitcoin, which it sounds like, it's quite popular for a lot of those big guys to do now. That's probably around the time that it's going to happen. So I would still stick with what I've been saying. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to see new all-time highs until at least 2022. And, that's really all that has to be. But of course, at the end of the day, price action matters more than anything else. So instead of talking about timing these sorts of things, I want to talk about actual price action analysis. So let's go jump over to Bitcoin right here. And let's talk about the short-term timeframes. And the short-term timeframe is actually rather interesting right now because we now have an actual structure and range. And I was really avoiding talking about the short-term timeframes the past few days here, mostly because I wanted to see a little bit of price action first. Looks like we got to bounce first up to the gap fill. First pass on gap fill right here was a pushback. That's to be expected. Yes. Now we do have an actual setup, or at least a breakout setup for the upside, in which case I'd be using yesterday's rejective high on CME specifically, which is about 52,135 as a continuation point, meaning that if Bitcoin can start to close even hourly dildos back above there, I would be looking for Bitcoin to start to edge its direction in the same way that you do see traditional markets where you do see that major low. Now, with that in mind, until that happens, Bitcoin is still within a trading range. Again, I'm not bearish on this long term, but I do believe that Bitcoin, as long as we're below here, can very easily come back down and test somewhere between, let's say 45 and 47,000 bucks, as we did not see the same move on CME over the weekend, seeing as it wasn't, obviously trading over the weekend, as we did on spot price action. So right now, that actually does offer up a little bit of an edge to the upside. And until then, Bitcoin can very easily come back down, grind out the mid $40,000 territory, but I'd just be looking for higher lows at that point. And I I think I've been open about this on this channel. I definitely spoke about it on Ellie's channel last night, but basically, not yesterday, over the weekend was the first time since 2017 where I actually put some fiat money into this market. I didn't get all my fills that I was looking for, but I did get the fills that I was comfortable with on that day. And I will probably get the rest of my fills if Bitcoin does come back down for long-term potential price action. Now, the reason why I am doing something like that is not because it's 100% guaranteed that Bitcoin will definitely bottom out on its current lows right here. But I like it. I like the risk reward in this case for a long-term trade. The reason being because I don't have to risk all that much to figure out if I'm going to be wrong, respectively speaking, towards the relative, potential long-term gains in this case. And in this case, what do we see right here? 43, or basically your last weekly high or low, which is about 42,000 bucks, technically speaking, on a closing basis. As long as we're above there, I do look at this as a weekly high or low alongside the green 55 exponential average. And again, if you're in the programs and you've been watching the Krown cross trading strategy videos, well, then you know exactly what I'm thinking right there. I look at those corrections down to the 55 in line with the macro trend alongside potential hidden bullish divergence, which we will have if we do confirm a local low here on the weekly, which is probably not happening this week, by the way. I think at earliest it would happen next week. Then those are the trades that I do like for the long-term trading trades, or just any trading trade for that example. And then of course we do go over here to our volatility our volatility metrics on the monthly. We do see that anytime Bitcoin's gotten down on, especially below about 20 to 25 percentile on monthly monthly BBWP, we have seen major lows. So I'll just briefly go over this right now. The last time we saw this low was obviously coming off the last flu dump, which was of course April, May, June, and then of course the time before that was actually coming off of the 2019 lows at 3,100 before going all the way up to 14,000 bucks. The time before that was of course coming off the 2014, 2015 parabolic blow off top and bottoming out at about 200 bucks before going to 20,000 bucks, and that's kind of our last iteration that is relevant for this. So this is still a reset overall, and I still look at this as one massive consolidation right here, as also verified by the volume signature. You can kind of see it tailing off from left to right. That's a good signal that this is consolidation first and foremost. But again, I want to be very, very deliberately clear with this. When we're talking about the lower term timeframes right now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is just going to go straight up from here. As long as Bitcoin is again below yesterday's lower high, then I do look for Bitcoin to fill out the bottom side of this territory first. That's where I start to be a lot more interested in it long term. And then I'd be, well, and then I think you can kind of figure out what I'd be doing from there. So again, I'm just kind of sharing the way exactly, what I'd be thinking and doing in these sorts of situations, for better or worse. Understand my sort of thought process behind it, and it's not for anyone to necessarily copy. It's just for me to explain, and then take what you like, take what you don't like, and use it for yourself, hopefully for good. Anyways, I also do want to go over momentum oscillators right here as well. Now, we did see a little bit of hidden bearish divergence yesterday on the 4-hour RSI. This was not present, however, on CME. And whilst we did play out a decent downside move from $52,000 all the way down to about 50,000 even, so $2,000 move right there, definitely relevant. When it's not relevant when it's not present on CME, I don't look at that as like a major move in the making. In this case, obviously CME is not having hidden bearish divergence anytime soon, as we're not above the last our last high on the RSI, which is way back on over here. So until then, I still do remain a little bit cautious on the short-term timeframes for Bitcoin, but what we would expect to see if we are on the lower-term timeframes right here, if this one is going to put in a local low right here, is we'd expect to see something resembling hidden bullish divergence, which we do not have right now, actually. So I still want to keep an open mind on the short-term timeframes. And where would I essentially judge that Bitcoin's going to come back down and spend a little bit more time below $50,000 and probably test somewhere down around $45,000 to $47,000, of which I would massively like myself, just for position management. Well, at that point, what would I be looking for? In this case, we'd be going off of the actual spot structure. And in this case, I'd be looking at this 49,600 level right here, your prior high coming in from basically your initial bounce over the weekend. So below there, 49,600 or so. Yes, I would be looking for one more run somewhere around this area right here, and very likely another bounce right there. Higher lows would be really well respected if we did see something like that. And that would add a lot of confidence onto this. Until then, this technically is a higher low right here. I think it's a little more aggressive for my particular liking. But if we go to look at momentum oscillators, I'm curious to see if there's any sort of pain points around there. So let's go over here for spot price action, as it is Wednesday, and I think that's it's about relevant now. We actually do see that 4-hour stocks are going to be nosediving as long as below 51,700. I think CME is about the same. Actually, no, apologies. Okay, so CME is way different over here. I'm going to default to CME, and that is typically the right analysis in my experience. So CME is actually showing upside momentum as long as we're above 49,200. That's obviously a lot better. 2-hour is going to be doing what? Is nosediving, but this is kind of a reset in a bullish fashion right here, with volatility coming down alongside of it, and will turn back up above 51,450 essentially, and hourly is probably way at the lows already at 50,600. It will flip back on up. So that is a little bit more on the bullish side for CME, to be fair. So I'm curious to see if that influences the medium-term timeframes over here. And what do you know? The 12-hour Stokes will actually turn back up with any sort of a closure today, intraday, above 51,631. So that is within striking distance. I imagine spot price action is very similar. In fact, it's actually not similar at all, although it is coming in from a similar angle as far as the actual indicator goes, but will turn back up above about $49,000 on next closure, or at least keep with its upside momentum. Daily, about the same as well, 47,227 on spot price action, and would actually work its way out of the bearish control zone, which would be rather significant. And then on CME, it will cross back up officially and also reject the critical zone on the bearish side above 50,640 today. So if those conditions are met, I would look for, I'd increase the probabilities of this one actually taking out the upside first, and then obviously the retest of the current lows would just not be relevant for at least it's not the most likely thing to happen. Until then, however, I do still remain a little bit cautious myself, and overall I look for the stock market to kind of give the general direction coming into end of year here. And I suspect that Bitcoin probably is going to be a little bit of a late follower, assuming that holds fruition, which which has been holding true more often than not, certainly over the last few years since Bitcoin started trading on CME. Anyways, we are 29 minutes into this bitch. I think it's time for me to go into the chatties right now. I'm going to turn on the alerts. I'm going to also take a quick swig of this water, this beautiful Finnish water over here, which is cold as fuck outside. I need to tell everyone about this, man. Yesterday, I think, was like negative 20 degrees Celsius. It was absolutely insane. Or I think maybe it was the day before. It's actually fucking insane. Yesterday was pretty cold as well, no doubt about that. But I mean, you go outside and you start to like feel your nose hairs crystallize in the snow. It's insane. It's actually insane. It kind of hurts.
Okay, but someone here is thinking about Bitcoin going up and got a boner.
Bitcoin is going up and it's got a boner. That's right. It took the blue pill. Exactly. All right, let's see what we got going on over here. I'm going to scroll up to the top of the chatties, and we got hey, what's up, Cobus? True One USD Mex exchange. Okay, this is
Did your gesture
Did my chest hair also freeze? This is not on TradingView, man. Unfortunately, we can't pull this up. It would be a really good idea if whatever your ticker you're going to ask about, if it's like a more obscure one, check it on TradingView first if it's going to be there. But this one is not there. And yeah, MEXC exchange. I've never heard of that one before. So it looks like it's not on TradingView. Unfortunately, we can't watch that. Radio Knife, welcome to the cave, sir. And I should also remind you, when you join the cave on the YouTube thingies, very highly technical and advanced speech right there. But basically, when you join on the YouTube, not on the Krown Chat application, that's completely different thing, completely fucking different thing. But on just the YouTube join button right there, you do get access to a members playlist of TA 101 that I kind of laid there for you. And I just want to make sure that the people who are already like joined the channel, that you know about that, so you can get a little bit of extra value as like a thank you, man. And there he is, Cobus again, man. If you have another ticket you want to look at, man, I'm happy to look at it, but it's got to be on TradingView. Otherwise, we're just kind of limited here, obviously. Dad Rack is just nice positive message. This is a good day, man. This is a really good day. Thank you for that, brother. Appreciate that. Cobus says, make some super chat if you're Bly. If you're Bly for TA? What's Bly for TA? I don't know what that is, man. I don't know what that Bly for TA. Wait, this is going into all sorts of crazy territories right now. What the fuck? It's minus 30 in Norway? Oh my god, how do you live there? Negative 20 is about as deep as it can go before it's too fucking cold, man. Gemini Athlete says bat 4 hour, 12 hour, and 5 day. Yeah, we can definitely check out this one. I remember this one was acting relatively strong over the past week here, and let's see if it's still holding it up. Still playing within, yes, okay. Not bad right here. Did test our 150 or so region that we were looking for yesterday. Now I'd be looking for a bit of a pullback short term. Pullbacks can come down all the way to 110 or even a $1.05, and that's still fine. I like this one long term as long as you're above a $1.05. That is my invalidation for something like this. Looking at a 5 day, I mean that's a fucking hell of a wick right there. Here's a crazy thing though, man. If you put it on a line chart, basically nothing happened, and this one generally looks very constructive and good. Again, could easily come back down to about a $1.10, a $1.05 region. I'd still be bullish on it. So short term is very likely a pullback, and I wouldn't necessarily call a long term continuation drive to the $2.50 target. Again, upon validation, still probably takes a couple weeks from there, but until you actually close above about 150. Let's see, on a daily, could we do it? Probably could do it on a daily, to be fair. Yeah, daily would work in this case. But overall good, overall constructive, and just short-term a bit of a pullback right here, and that's fine. Anyways, let's see. Julio EU says, Link USD, weekly, does it have the bones to moon? It's been relatively weak recently, so I wouldn't say it's my first choice for a moonshot, but it did have a decent move off the lows from what I did see yesterday. Yeah, so we did get our bounce that we're looking for. And bounce can definitely trade up a little bit more here before any sort of major issues, that being about 24 bucks or so. And we do see potential. Actually, we would have hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. Would we? Hold on. Let's see. We got 42.06 right there. We got 41.81 right there. Yeah, we would have an ever so slight of drive of hidden bullish divergence right there. But again, is this a local low confirmed right now? No, absolutely not. We need to come back above and close above about 24 bucks before that's even a topic of conversation. The question quite literally is, does it have the bones to moon? I mean, anything has the bones to move to moon, if I understand what that even means to begin with, but anything can technically moon, right? But is it a high probability? Fuck no, man. This one's been very, very weak. Where is the moonshot essentially? The moonshot, or at least where I'd get excited about a moonshot, is back above about 34.25. Until then, I mean, this is not the strongest chart of them all. There are certainly a lot better charts in cryptocurrency land right now. This one, weak at best, a laggard at best, and weak at worst. But short term, very likely to pull back from that $22 level or so. That's not a death sentence though. I still look at this one as putting in a major weekly low as long as you're above about 17 bucks. So if the question is quite literally, does it have the bones to moon? I mean, it does, just low probability, man. I don't think that there's anything too exciting about this thing as long as you're below about 34.25. That's where you might be talking about some moon action, but as long as you're below there, it's consolidation at best. Anyways, John Brooks says VRA daily, please. Sure, man. Let's see. We got VRA USD. Over here. I see you, Style Exteriors. What's up, man? We'll get to that soon enough, man. Anyways, VRA having a great bounce off the 55 right there. I believe that was our target on a breakdown, and, well, a pretty damn good response thus far. Short term, is this one likely to pull back a little bit and try for a higher low kind of where it is? I think that we've kind of already got this right here. Might pull back a little bit more toward 3.7 cents or so. That's fine. Long term, not long term, but on the daily, I want to see this one just pop back above yesterday's high. If it does that, just trades above yesterday's high or closes above about 5 cents, then I would be looking for this one to actually put in a major low and trade up over the next week, very likely back to the prior range highs in this case, or sorry, not your prior range highs, but your prior inside your prior range, somewhere around about 6.35 to maybe like 6.5 cents or so. That looked pretty damn good. This would be your next higher low on the weekly. And to be fair, the weekly trend has actually not reversed here at all. The weekly does still have higher lows, and we would have, or would we have hidden bullish divergence? Yes, we would. In fact, yes, we would. But again, this is not going to confirm a low very likely on this week unless we do close the weekly like above 6 cents, essentially. Short term, bit more of a pullback, it looks like, but ultimately, next week, if you see this one pop back above basically this week's high, that would probably be a good indication that it is put in a local low here, and that would be a higher low and also confirm hidden bullish divergence. From that point, I'd be looking for that one to trade back up to your prior highs, essentially, in the next month or so. It would look actually pretty damn good. Anyways, let's see. We got Michael Els. What's up, Mr. Michael Els? Are Ichimoku clouds a valid indicator? Yeah, they're completely valid. I know actually a few traders who use Ichimoku clouds as one of their main indicators for their edge, and they're quite successful. It used to be a lot popular like a couple years ago because it's kind of like it's user friendly. It's got the colors and everything, which is great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Look, trading's already hard enough, so if you can make it easier for yourself, just fucking do it. But what is Ichimoku Cloud? I mean, it's basically just using a bunch of EMAs and creating a cloud with it. And yeah, there's a few other things that go alongside it as well. I just like having my own moving averages like here, right here, because I feel like it gives me more control over what I'm looking at. Although I'm also trading different strategies than the Ichimoku cloud. But yeah, it's valid. It's, can you trade it is the real question. Most indicators are going to be useful in some way. The problem is that people typically like jump around from indicator to indicator, thinking about what's the best one. It's like, no, there is no best one really. It's like, what's the best one for you with your personal trading strategies and your personal trading preferences and your personal trading personality, I guess, because we're all going to be slightly different within that. So you want to be working with that. So you always want to backwards engineer what indicators that you're using. So you want it, what?
Can you turn off the notification sound?
Can I turn it up?
No, off.
Oh, off. Okay. Let's see. No, well, right, fuck it, I'll turn it off right there. There you go. All right, now you happy now? Jesus Christ. Whatever. Anyways, Ghost Whales, appreciate that, man. Thank you for that nice little emoticon. John H says, morning, sir. Good morning, sir. AXS, okay, Axes. Yeah, let's see how this one's been doing. This one's definitely been one of the most strong ones in the market for the past like half year. Is it still holding its ranges? Barely, by a fucking thread of needle, it looks like. And I'm not a big fan of where it's at right now, but it technically still does hold on to the 107 level. So I guess it's, it's not necessarily a full-on breakdown just yet, and this does offer up the potential for a bit of a bear trap right here. But in order to confirm a bear trap, you do need to pop back above and close specifically above 124.5. If you can do that, this looks like a bear trap, very likely to pop back up towards 150 after that, and continue on with macro trend. But until then, it's kind of right on the precipice of a very precarious area, and any sort of a closure basically below about, let's just call it 104, or about 104. I would be looking for this one to break down and test around your weekend lows, actually, somewhere around $87 or so. Until then, I give it a chance to put in a bit of a bear trap. Let's just see. Oopsies, just dropped some. My bad. Oh, and the sun's coming up now. It's almost 8:40 and the sun's maybe coming up. If I go over here to the short-term time frames, it does look like it's put in a bit of a local low, to be fair. So I do want to represent both sides accurately. I mean, it's not necessarily both sides. It's just, that is what it's doing right now. We do see volume popping up on that move as well. I just want to either see it trade back above that last 4-hour high, be a little bit aggressive for me personally, but even just closing a 4-hour dildo back above about 124.5 would do it for me in this case. Looking for it to essentially complete the bear trap short term and trade back up into your prior range highs. So this one actually still okay, just needs to pull through like today. I'd say at latest tomorrow, but overall, we do see some signs of bottoming behavior right there. And again, this one still holds on to the daily range low, so more likely to bounce here first than anything else realistically. What about a weekly, just out of curiosity? Weekly does kind of look like a top and does look like a breakdown for what it's worth. So if I do want to get bearish, I'm looking at the weekly right here. 5 days, same thing. Does look like it wants to break down and test down towards like $80 or so. I wouldn't necessarily call it a breakdown just yet. I want to see it actually close below that 104 level first, and then yeah, I'm probably looking towards low 80s, upper 70s or so. Until then, I give it a chance to put in a bit of a bear trap. You do see some activity on a short-term time frame, so still has a little bit of life in it. Crypto Aram says, mind giving us an analysis on Rary? Sure, man, but no time frames given doesn't really. wait, oh, Jesus. Hold on, let me actually spell it properly. That would be good. This thing, okay, it's on Coinbase, so they list everything nowadays, so that means very little, but go to Poloniex, maybe they have the history here. Yeah, they do have decent enough history. In fact, this thing's been around since, September 2020. All right, it's been around for a little bit more than a year. Maybe the other ones do have a better chart. Let's just see. I'm curious. What about Kraken? Nah, not really. What about Coinbase? No, definitely not. So we'll go back to Poloniex over here. This is probably going to be the best look on this one. And what do we have? Okay, so at best a consolidation, kind of similar to Link in that case, or in that variety. And what do you have going on right here? You got something essentially governing your higher lows, or what would be your higher lows. So this is a little bit more experimental right here. I would not put too much weight on this, to be fair. And I want to start this one off by saying, hey, any sort of a daily closure below about $15.50, this thing's very likely to break down and test. It looks like a couple days ago lows. That would be about $13 or so. And at that point, this thing's going to look very, very nasty. Until then, though, I do treat this one as potentially a higher low on the weekly. Again, I don't know what time frames you're going off of because you didn't specify, but more likely to bounce here than not. Very, very minimal trading activity on a 4-hour. I mean, this thing has on this current 4-hour dildos has 23 volume. 20 fucking 3, man. It doesn't trade. It doesn't fucking trade. I'd like to see this one close a 4-hour dildo back up about $20. That would look a lot better in the short term and very likely imply another test back up towards your range highs. And this would start to look a lot more like a reaccumulation. So you're kind of in a precarious place, but I'd give it a chance right here. I only really get bearish on this one on confirmation below about $15.50. Mr. Raj, there he is, ALBT. Let's see where this one is. Wonder where this one ended up. This one's always a wild card. Typically holds a range, though, and seems to be pretty damn staunch in that. And no, it did not. It did not, actually. That is not good right there, actually. Let's see. What does weekly look like? Weekly looks like a breakdown. Yeah, not so great right there. 5 days kind of pushing off as well. I do look at this one as bearish as long as you're below about 6-7 cents. Did break the range lows from the prior range, and well, that's usually not a great thing. The hopium here is that this is a bit of a bear trap. You'd confirm a bear trap with a move back above basically yesterday's high. That would look pretty damn good. Possible, yes, and to be fair, a lot of cryptos in this space right now have a setup similar to that. So perhaps this one is just what's it called? Is just a bit of an outlier. It's really unwise to be looking at really individualistic names within this space. I mean, more often than not, things kind of do what like the general market does, and this one would be a little bit on the other side of that. But if I'm just looking at this one, yeah, it is a breakdown. I'd probably be looking back down around a couple days ago lows. But hey, you do have a potential for a bear trap right here. Let's see what the 4-hour looks like. Yeah, I just need to see a 4-hour closure back above basically yesterday's high, which is 6-7 cents. If that happens, that'd look good. Until then, questionable right there. But again, most things in this market kind of look about that. Anyways, Paul Garrett says Matic bearish divergence on the 12-hour and daily, best place to buy the dip. Well, let's go first confirm that we even have bearish divergence here, because there seems to be a lot of confusion around that. No, this is not bearish divergence. This is continuation, sir. You are going to short an uptrend, and you should be very, very aware of what actually constitutes bearish divergence. So whenever you're talking about bearish divergence, you absolutely must need to confirm a local low or a local high against another local low or local high. They always need to be compared to each other. And in this case, where's your local high right here? Is that a local high? No, it is not. In fact, this is continuation. You're going to short a fucking uptrend, man. So I'd be careful with that, perhaps. But perhaps this one would be a good one to record a video on, because it's actually looking pretty damn good here. Here we have Polygon symbol MATIC, and this one is looking quite good above your 2.25 level that we spoke about for like a couple months here, realistically. And all higher term time frames essentially trending right now. This one still does have a technical target based off of the long-term accumulation formation all the way up to about $3.50 in line with one of our fib extensions over there. So that is good confluence. Short-term 4-hour is just another higher low. So I do like this as an invalidation, that being about 220 on a 4-hour closure. I do look for a correction down to about $2 even. Daily does not really lose its bullishness as long as you're still above, actually about $2 in this case. And for right now, this one is continuing onwards and upwards. Volume is starting to pour on into this one on the actual macro breakout. We do see daily RSI in the bullish control zone. We do see daily volatility continuing to move upwards and onwards right here. This looks quite good. This looks quite good. So again, there's always invalidations for these sorts of things, but 4 hours just continuing to trend. So we see all time frames trending here essentially. Just briefly want to check out momentum as well, just to match it up and see if there's anything that's massively disagreeing with that. But so far so good. Let's see, daily Stokes are up as long as above 234.5. So that is right now, well, that is going to be very likely met. 12 hours also up as long as above 217. Okay, also quite good. 4 hour is going to freshly cross up above 242 in this case. Now, I was aware that this one actually has an event coming up. So it does have an event coming up. And typically when you have an event coming up, I think they have like some sort of, I don't know, ZK rollups or whatever the fuck the new meme within this market is. You typically do see a rise up into the event, and then around the time of the event, or maybe like a day or two after the event, you typically do see a lot of selling come in. So how high does this one get first before then? You know, our next major area would be around 265, which I do think is quite likely. Next one above that, upon validation above 265 on a daily, would be about $3, just above $3. And then if things really get crazy, I guess $3.50. So do be aware of that, because you're very likely to get a pullback around that event time. The question is, does the pullback essentially create a lower low or not? And for right now, you got your higher lows on a daily as long as you're above $2. So that is looking quite good. And hopefully that was helpful for Matic. No, there's no bearish divergence on that, man. No. And you just got the dip right there if you were looking for a dip. You did have bearish divergence on a 4-hour time frame. Now, this one was a weak drive right there, to be fair, but you still got to move down from about 250 to 2.25. Actually quite good. But 12-hour, is there even bearish divergence? No, it's not even. Look, man, you don't have a local high right here. You'll have a local high if you close below about 2.25. So no, that is not accurate. Can happen, I guess, but not as of the current moment in time, man. And you really need to be, and sorry, I'm going to speak directly to you right now, or anyone else who kind of looks at divergences in that case. You really need to be very, very, nuanced about that, because when you're talking about divergences, it always has to be local lows or local highs confirmed against each other. If you don't have confirmed local lows or local highs, you will always short or long the opposite direction, the wrong direction, essentially, of a trending move. And that's kind of what you'd be doing right there, to be fair. Anyways, a deal at what?
The first super chatter
Yeah.
that wasn't in trading view.
Yes.
Can you check out XRP for him?
Oh, Cobus, I trusted you. Now you want to look at XRP bullshit? Motherfucker, man. All right, sure. We'll look at XRP. Wow, definitely a very inspiring chart over here. Look, if Bitcoin's going to pop back up, or if most altcoins are put in a bit of a rallies right here, XRP gets to do the same as well. But it's just, as you can see, it's very weak. It's very fucking weak. So short-term time frame ranges above 85 cents. I do look for this one to rally up somewhere around about 89 to 90 cents. It's not really that much. This one is still technically on weekly higher lows. To be fair, your last higher low was 60 cents or so. Okay, fair enough. But how would you confirm a local low right here? Very unlikely to happen this week unless you close above like $1. It'd probably at earliest happen next week, and I'd want to see this one essentially close this week, something like this, and then pop back up to like 90 cents or so. That would look okay. Still long term, very, very hard to get excited about this thing as long as you're below about $1.30. That's kind of the big area for this one long term. Again, if the rest of the market pulls through, this one very likely does as well, but it's relatively weak. And where do I look for a big breakdown on this one? If this thing if this thing closes like a 12-hour or a daily below about 75 cents, I'd be looking for this one to at minimum retest your wick lows from the weekend at about 60 cents, and then we come back to it after that. But definitely not strong on its own. I think the hopium right here is that you're doing something like this. Oops. You're doing something like this long term. And even then, I mean, this thing is probably not the most interesting chart, at least for like another month, assuming that it even does hold into this area to begin with. But yeah, you would have hidden bullish evidence potential if you did confirm a local low there. It's got a long ways to go though right now. Let's see, a DLM says, is the same bottoming action on Tether dominance present on other stablecoin dominance? I don't think that other stablecoin dominance charts would really matter because they have a minimal amount of trading volume in comparison to Tether. But if we go back, it would actually be a good time to go back to it and just check it out. Yeah, it still looks like it's bottoming out right here. Got a bit of a pullback, so I don't know, man. That's definitely representing the view that we are not just going to be looking at a pullback from here, but likely continuation off of the daily trend, which would be the downside. That would be quite nasty. This is probably my best counterpoint to Bitcoin putting in a macro low where it currently is. This is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, that is a major low right there. So, should always be aware of, of all the confounding variables or just all the variables within this market. And that would be one worth knowing, I do think. That's probably my biggest argument for turning on the full-on Barra bazookas. But for right now, well, I'd give price action a chance first. Folklore Fanatic says Aave USD daily and weekly. Sure, AAVE USD. We haven't looked at this one in a while, and I suspect this is why. Yeah, this one has a full-on breakdown right here. Pretty damn ugly, pretty damn nasty. Look, while the rest of the market does bounce, this one probably does bounce as well. It's very weak, as you can see. I think best it does see upside is maybe like 220, but as long as you're below 220, this thing is, well, a macro breakdown. Actually, it's not good. 5-day is a clean breakdown, man. This one on any sort of weakness across the market, on any sort of weakness on Bitcoin, you can probably look for this one, you know, over the next month or two to work its way down towards low 100s. This is not good right there. You do have declining highs, you got lower lows. That might be called a downtrend, and we are on higher term timeframes right here, but I don't know. Yeah, you're on a daily and weekly, so you are on higher term timeframes in this case. Something like this would I be looking towards. And obviously you had something like this, and you kind of already broke that, so it's not great right there, man. Yeah, as long as you're below 208 especially, or sorry, what exactly is it? Let's just call it 210. As long as you're below 210, direction is down, man. The direction is down. I guess my best argument for this one is the sense that you know, if the rest of the market pulls through, this one very unlikely breaks down. But here's your monthly looks like a major top. Here's your biweekly looks like a major top. Here's your weekly, not great. Seeing volatility tick up right now, and you already printed lower lows, so there ain't going to be no hidden bullish evidence right there. Look, if Bitcoin plays out a downside move, this thing's going to get hit a lot harder than most other things, and probably down to low 100 territory. I'd really only call this one a bear trap, which this is hopium right now, but daily closure back above, I mean, 210 probably wouldn't even be wise to do it. It'd probably have to be more like 250, this lower high right here, just to be on the safe side. Really don't want to be aggressive with the more weaker ones in my experience, but hey, that's just personal preferences. Hopefully that was helpful on Aave though, man. Anyways, Echo Zien says BNB BTC. Okay, all right, so we got CZ coin versus the real coin right there, the old corns. All right, let's see what we got. And actually pretty damn good. BNB actually acting really well. Anyways, this one trending right now. It is trending right now. Volatility very, very low. So I would be looking at this one as essentially just up and to the right. Essentially continuation of trend as long as you are closing. Hey, god damn it, stop that. As long as you're closing daily dollars above this little spike low right there at about, what is this, 0.1095. As long as you're above there, I do favor the upside on this one. Weekly is an uptrend as well, and actually this one is going to have a chance to break out relatively soon. In fact, I would argue that it pretty much already has. Let's see. This is your range highs right there. And yes, we did close above it last week, or not we, but BNB did. 5 days already closed above it as well. So, you know, short term might have a bit of a backfill down to that 0.011 region, but looking for this one over the next week or two here to test back around your prior all-time highs. Actually, this is pretty good. Pretty damn good right there. So fair enough. BNB BTC pairing looking strong. Monthly is just continuation. Where's invalidation again below 0.011 essentially on a daily closure. I'd even be a little bit more conservative with that and say 0.109, basically where the 21 is. If that level is closed below, I would be looking for correction first down to about 0.01 even. But actually okay. Jeff Ung, AXS. Yep, we already did that one on long hold. Again, I'm not here to do your trades for you, man. I don't even know what a long hold is for you. It could be, for me, a long hold is like a week. It's quite long for a trade. Even just a few days is a little bit too long. Anyway, oh, Neil. Anyone else wish they could be that mic? Yes, my tongue, sir. Oh, we got our lovely moderator. Oh man, this is so good with our moderator team now. Nikki Page is laying it down. I fucking love it. Elsa's in there too. Who else do we have? Do we have any other moderators here today? Actually, I don't. Oh, Alex is here, and Bear Nutrition is in here, and Nimbo's here. Nice. All right, sweet. Hey, there we go. All right, it's a good day. It's a very good day. And again, massive thank you. It's really been helpful. To our prior moderator team, Elsa was getting like overloaded with shit. She's like getting frustrated. And Philson here is too. Fucking, oh, nice and dodgy mod. There he is. There he fucking is. Love it, man. Fucking love it. All right. Tom Struck says Tasmania is a real place. I've now learned, and they do have Tasmanian devils, and they're actually quite vicious apparently. Best of you as well, man. If not a faux pas in the cave, Pax G hourly. What is this? Oh, Pax Gold. You know, you've okay, and Muse on gold tokens. Yeah, just one at a time, man. We can look at Pax Gold. I'm guessing this is like is this like a gold stablecoin, or not? It's not a gold stablecoin, but like a gold derivative for cryptos, I guess. Is that what we're looking at right here? If that is the case, it's probably easier to just look at gold itself, which we can do over here. And I'm guessing that it is because they're trading at about the same numbers. So this is Pax Gold, which is trading 1792. Like gold, spot gold is trading 1788. So I suspect that they are pretty much the same. Anyways. Looks like we are putting in a higher low right here, basically on your massive macro range lows. That's your 1750 tick right there. That's fine. That's okay. And I do look for this one to put in a bit of a low alongside hidden bullish evidence on daily RSI. Daily Jewels also turning up as well. And volatility was curtailing this whole way down. I mean, that is actually quite... You don't really see that too often where volatility literally just drops off like a rock like that in 2 days. That's okay, interesting. Anyways, yeah, I am looking at this one. It's put in a low right here. I'd be looking at confirmation of a low back above about 1800 on a daily closure and looking for this one to pop back up towards 1830 and probably even just your prior highs over time. Depends how long you're looking here. You're talking about an hourly and daily, so probably not that long term. Hourly, higher low right here, trending to the upside. I look for this one to continue short term towards 1795. Still want to see a daily closure above that level, and then yeah, I'd be calling this one a local low. Look for a hidden bullish evidence on the daily to take over, and continuation from there would look okay. What's up, Mr. BK? CRV USD, full hour and daily and weekly. Okay, CRV USD right here. And you're looking at a 4 daily. Okay, yeah, 4 hour daily. Wait, no, 4 hour daily weekly. Sorry, reading the next one. Okay, man, this one just salvaged itself at the exact right time. Holy shit. $3.50 major wicks down. Oh my god, wait, major wicks down over Saturday to 270. I kind of have the same thing to say about this as before, man. As long as you do hold above 350, I look at this as, you know, a big base right here. It's probably going to be a little bit easier to look at if I get rid of the median right there, which is just the one spot 272. Essentially, as long as you're above 350, I do look at this as essentially a complex low being put in right now. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Yeah, weekly still fine long term. I still like this one long term actually. Full hour. Full hour might see a bit of a short-term pullback as we do have hidden bearish evidence present. Yeah, going all the way back on over there. So pulling back down to 350, 355 is completely fine. Just don't want to see a daily closure below 350 specifically. Below 350, I do get bearish on this one, and I do look at this as a failure. I do look at this one as likely to fill back down towards your Saturday wick. Until then, short-term, a little bit of downside testing. This one's going to look a lot better if you do pop back above about 450 on a daily closure, or sorry, 440 in this case. And I'd be looking for a retest of your highs and probably onwards and upwards from there. But until then, short term, a bit of a pullback. I'd be looking for a higher low somewhere right around here. If you see something like that, that's going to be a really, really good sign. And then just popping back above today's high is going to look like that continuation drive that I think you're probably looking for on this one. Again, higher term timeframes are more or less fine in this case. Yeah, I don't really have any major issues with this. Yeah, I'm still, I mean, there's not really much of a monthly here, but fair enough. Hopefully that was helpful though on curve. Again, short-term pullback, just don't want to see 350 break on a daily. That would be fine. There he is. What's up, Mr. Jack? Good morning to you, man. Matic Ethereum. Yes, let's go check out this one. This one's been very interesting to watch. So I remember yesterday we looked at this one, or I believe we confirmed a breakout on this one yesterday. Hold on, let's go to the chart that has the information here. Bittrex, yeah, Bittrex has it. Yeah, and the breakout has been confirmed. We hit our first target at sorry, that was the breakout right there. So I didn't even put in real targets on this one, but I am looking towards about 60,800 or so before the next sort of daily pullback essentially. And this one is, yeah, just trending on all time frames. We do see daily RSI back in the bullish control zone. We do see that daily volatility is rather high. Invalidation on this one is not going to be the breakout trend line. It's actually be right around here at about 47,500. So as long as you're above there, I do look for this one to continue with current trend. Short-term time frames like a 4 hour. Are trending right here too. Just put in another higher low right there at 52,300. So yeah, I do look for this one to trade sideways and up outside of this range. Hidden bullish evidence on the 4 as well. Weekly, yeah, looks like a macro base. I'm looking for this one to trade back up towards 60,000 plus, maybe even as high as 65,000. Yeah, about 65 to 66,000 over the next week or two. Actually, this is pretty good, pretty damn good right there. Again, be aware of where the invalidation is, but for right now, trading in all time frames and looking strong, I'd say. Ash, definitely one of the strong ones, I'd say. Definitely one of the strong ones. Ash Robert wants to look at QNT. So this is Quant, 4 hour and daily. Got it. Okay, I remember this one lost its structure last we looked at it. Let's see. All right, sorry, I'm probably on exchange right here. Let's go to coin. Yeah, okay, yeah. This one is relatively weak right now. Look, I do think that it probably does test back down around your 142 lows, or hold on, I could be wrong about that. I mean, it is. I mean, you do have declining highs right here. It's not great. Probably is looking at another retest of your lows right here. I just don't want to see a break below about 142. That's going to be the next major level. I mean, this is not great right here, to be fair. It's not great, but the problem is that you are starting to get into bouncy bounce territories just by testing this sort of last consolidation lows and also your weekend wick lows as well. So I'm a lot more inclined to say this one probably doesn't have like a major continuation drive to the downside just yet. I would call a major continuation condition to the downside if you do close below 142 on a daily. And in this case, I'm looking for probably another fill of your weekend lows, maybe even lower than that over time towards $100 even. What would negate this? What would essentially pull this one up by this bootstraps, even though it is relatively weak, basically back above your 4-hour range highs, about 197 would do it for me. Until then, I do think that this one's certainly more on the risky side, and any sort of weakness on Bitcoin, this one very likely does overperform to the downside. So kind of questionable right there. What about the 5-day? Yeah, 5-day, again, it's more in a bouncy territory than not. Yeah, it's more in a bouncy territory than not. You get another wick down towards like that level. What exactly was it? About 150 or so? Probably yes. Tries for a bounce there and then pray to Bula. Jesus gets brought back above even the 4-hour range highs, but got a lot of work to do, man. That one's definitely not definitely one of the lesser inspiring ones, I'd say. Hey, Mr. Suede, welcome to the cave as well. What's up?
There are like 30 super chats left.
Okay.
We close them 9:30 or 9:50.
Let's give it another like 20 minutes and see how it is. Yeah. Buster Wolf has deleted his message by Nikki Page. Whoops, what happened there? Ben Garrison says ICP on the daily, looking for a good entry price. Okay, all right. So this is the Internet Computer Protocol, which has a great fucking name, man. Yeah, this one got sent back down to its lows, and this is not fucking good right here, man. But look, a lot of the times when you test your prior all-time lows, you just kind of get a pity bounce. I think that's what you're seeing right here. Anyways, you're saying on a daily, looking for a good entry price. Okay, so in the way that I look at things, and again, this is going to be personal preference, so I cannot trade for you, man. This is called financial advice, and that is illegal for me to do. I'm not a financial advisor, to be 100% fucking clear. IMO, the tech is 4 to 5 years ahead of every competitor, but the price won't stop dumping. Yeah, I've actually heard that from other people who do happen to know technology as well. They do respect it, but the problem is that you got a bunch of predatory VCs in this one that will just dump this thing because they're already up like, you know, many X's just by investing before anyone else in the seed rounds and shit like that. Anyways, looking for a good entry price. I don't know what that means to you. Are you going to hold this thing for another 4 to 5 years? I mean, look, you're probably going to bounce here a little bit more. That's fine. But the thing is that at least in my sort of philosophy, I do not long-term buy into a downtrend. And this one has been downtrending for quite some time. If I were trading this, which I'm not, and I have no interest in doing that, I would buy this one actually above about $85. That's where this one actually starts to look good again. Until then, it's just rolling over and really weak. But short term, can it pop back up? Yeah. And where would I change my mind around short term? I guess above $50 would look okay. Pretty damn far away, but if you're just looking to do some low buying, I mean, always keep in mind that it can always go lower, and anyone who's been around since 2018 especially can assure you of that, or if you traded other markets as well. But yeah, man, I'm not a big fan of this one right here. You know, yeah, it's likely to bounce here. I think it could do easily like $38, but I'm guessing you're probably very long term. I'm not really seeing any signs of bottoming action here just yet, just bouncy action. Wouldn't even call a bottom here, especially as long as you're below $50. So be aware of what you're looking at, sir. Anyways, Crypto Peasant says, can you look at Mnet USD? Sure. Mnet. Mnet. This is one I've never seen before. Mine Network. All right. Very little history right here. No timeframes given, so I guess in this case we got to go to very low term timeframes because that's all we're gonna get. Not great, whatever the fuck it is, but look, I'm not going off of much right here, man. It's kind of the same thing as the last one. Look, all that it's done ever since it's got listed is go down, which is not the best sign. So I'm looking for a reversal first before anything legitimately looks okay. And in this case, that would be about 36.5 cents. Until then, it's just a downtrend, man. It looks fucking ugly, but really not going off of much here. And I usually don't, and not that I do not feel comfortable or confident on charts that have been around for very low amounts of period of time. This one being about 1 week, so that would definitely fit the bill for that one. I should just say that I do not know on this one, which is the proper answer. If I'm calling it on the daily, looks like shit, looks like it wants to come down. I would not stand by that analysis though. Luke Adams says, can you check out okay, just one, sir, just one. We can do RNDR because that's probably the most relevant one. The other ones sound like complete shitcoins, so we'll do RNDR over here. Looks pretty bad actually. So that maybe this one is another shitcoin as well. Aave has some history. Yeah, it does have some history, and that doesn't look as bad. Oh, certainly not as bad on the daily right here. Problem is though. Problem is you are seeing a bit of distribution at your lows. So I would say that this one does start to flip around on a 4 hour back above about 546 on a 4 hour closure back above there. I do look for this one to retest around about 669 to 670 or so. Until then, more on the bear side. I follow the trend in this case. Any sort of a closure below 4.25 on even a 4 hour. And I look for this one to, well, maybe we play the daily on this one. Yeah, daily's probably better on this one just because you do have an established low, which would be 402 on a daily closure, or basically, let's just say $4, just easy to remember. I would be looking for big moves down towards 270 in that case, and let's just make it like this. Until then, I guess you might get some pity bounces here, but I would not even be calling a short-term reversal as long as you're below 546. If you can pop back above there, this one's gonna look a lot better. Until then, does this look more toppy than not? Yeah, it does. So I just kind of leave that right there. This one can correct down easily to like $3 and still be long-term okay, I guess. But I don't really know what time frames you're going off of, so hopefully that was in some way helpful, but we don't know. Mr. Rubio says, hey, Krown, guess that 1 week bearish divergence was a cause for the drop, but now, well, I know what you mean by that. But I'm going to put up my finger and be like, excuse me. Actually, what actually caused the drop was selling. But yes, it was one of the indicators that gave you an advance notice that we were going to see a major drop off like that. Yep. And we did speak about that. So I think that's probably what you mean. Anyways, you're saying, but we also confirmed bearish divergence on the 2 week. How do you think that could play out? Okay. So this is a really, really good question. So what Mr. Rubio is referencing here is that on the weekly, we confirmed many drives of bearish divergence. This was in middle of November, which is where Bitcoin did break below 63,500, which is where we started to get bearish. In this case, that already played out. So I don't think that there's, like, if you're looking for that move, that move's already played out. However, on the 2 week, you have correctly identified that we do have 2 week regular bearish divergence confirmed here as well. So the question is, has this one already played out? The easy move down to the 21, yes, has. So, and that's typically my easy target for these sorts of indications upon confirmation. We've already got that. So if you are going to look for the next drive, where would it be? Basically somewhere around the 55 in the mid $30,000 territory. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but how would you confirm that that's going to be the next sort of target that is actionable and reasonable to be looking for? In this case, any sort of a weekly lower low than your prior lows in late September would do it. Until then, I still look at this as probably putting in a low right there. Might get one more drive towards 43 to 45 or so. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add on to it other than that, because you've kind of already got that move, and that's the difficulty with playing like the very high term time frame ones, Mr. Rubio. So when you are looking at very high term time frames and you're looking to play divergences, you can be a little bit more aggressive with them, because if you see some sort of like a reversal dildo formation. So in this case right here, you had a basically what's called a spinning top at the top of your rally. So that closes as kind of like a long-legged doji dildo, if you're familiar with that term as well. Basically, it's not a thin of indecision. And then on just taking out the low side of it on the next bi-weekly, a lot, if you are going to be more aggressive, that will confirm the local high. And if you confirm a local high right there, then, your target, the 21, obviously got hit. So I'm not really giving you a good answer on this one. I understand, because I don't really have a good answer to give you on this one other than what I just said right there. When you're on very, very high term timeframes, like a 2 week, a monthly and above like that, you can usually play the reversal formations and use them as like a early confirmation of it. So in this case, probably wouldn't have to have waited for a closure in this case, and probably also looked at the weekly as well. And you said, hey, that one's already played out, or sorry, already confirmed. So, the problem is that if you're going to look for that next target, it's very, very low right now. It's very, very low. So I just don't feel comfortable or confident calling a continuation of this move down another 35% just yet, until Bitcoin does something of significance for structure, which would be breaking the last weekly higher low. That would be the next target, and that's in the mid 30s. So, upon confirmation, that's around $42,000. So 42 down to 30, 34. I mean, that's a significant move right there. It's about a 30% move. So I probably wouldn't jump the gun on that one just yet. Anyway, Stalker says, oh, hey, what's up, man? Let's revisit Nord. Okay, on the 4 and daily. Gotcha. Remember we looked at this one at your request a while ago. Forget if this one had like any... Oh, it's actually okay. Yeah, man, it's okay right here. Let's see. What was the other exchange? Maybe this one had more history. Yeah, it did have more history. Still okay right here. Has a higher low. Yes, and we do see that this one's kind of flagging out. A little bit on the weirder and weaker side, but that's okay. We do expect to see a little bit of that action. I'll write this one down as well because it does seem to be a particular. I guess I don't even have a chart on this one because we didn't really do it last time. Still want to see a closure above 611 essentially on a daily, and that would be the big breakout to myself. Looking for moves back up around your prior rejection highs. That's May. That's around $8.5 to $9 actually over time upon confirmation. Until then, short-term time frames like a 4-hour, just trending up right here, and does have another drive of hidden bullish evidence. So looking at something like this, it's trending at all time frames right now, which is good. That also does imply an invalidation below 430 on a 4-hour closure, looking for moves back around your prior range lows, which is 345 to 350. Until then, though, this is it's good, constructive, and momentum also does do favor the upside. Just want to see a confirmation above about 611 on a daily, and then I'm looking for that next move. One of the more interesting charts here, actually, as it does have a nice constructive setup. Dahlia says, no questions today, just enjoying the live stream. Hey, thanks. Sweet. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. And again, very beautiful dog. We've been watching this. Oh my God. We watched the weirdest things on fucking YouTube. I'll tell you that late at night. We watched this like dog channel where it's like this golden retriever that just does golden retriever shit, and for whatever reason it's incredibly entertaining actually, just watching this damn dog like prance around and shit and play with other dogs and do all sorts of dog like shit, like eating broccoli, which for whatever reason really entertaining. I mean, these dogs are so fucking weird to watch. They're so weird, they're so fucking strange, especially when there's like multiple of them too, and they start doing dog social activities. It's I don't know what to think of it. They have like their own little culture, of course, but I don't know, man. It's just weird. Kemal says, yo, E, what's up, man? I'm holding SHIB from November 29th's fake breakout. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, should we do critical update for the SHIB coin? Yes. I want to make fuck to the SHIB coin price. Still pretty ugly here. Let's actually do a video on this one. Man, if there's one community that I do like, well, fuck it. Critical update for the shitcoin price. Massive attention for all shitcoin hodlers. What do we have right here? We have a shitcoin of a chart, actually. We have a shitcoin of a chart in progress right now. Anyways, so this one did play at our downside move all the way down to about 2,800 based off the technical breakdown from 36. However, we have a good question here from Mr. Kamal saying, I'm still holding SHIB. So that means that he's long, from November 29th's fake breakout. Where's November 29th? Okay, so that was right here. And this one did test the breakout trend line, but did not close above. So I just want to spend a second here talking about this. So when we talk about validation and invalidation, this is why validation is so important, because this level right here was what we were essentially looking for to kind of validate a breakout and a local low and targets back up towards, 6,000 plus, which would have been great. This was also around the 618 Fibonacci bearish retracement, which is a common sort of bull trappy area. And this is why validation is very, very important, because you will be able to avoid traps like this if and when they do happen, because, well, as you know, they definitely do happen. Now, after that, obviously comes back down to your prior range lows and now kind of dancing around it. Definitely not strong right here, but is it likely to bounce here or not? Short-term time frames are still pretty damn weak. If we are going to chart at the short-term time frames, I'm actually going to move this right here because it's not relevant. And what we'll do is we'll do something like this. Here's our short-term time frame range. Your highs at about 3,900 and your lows at around about 3,440 essentially. As long as you're below 3,900, this one is obviously a bearish redistribution pattern. However, I wouldn't necessarily call a full-on continuation of this move just yet. I still want to see the daily close officially below that bottom end, which is 34.40. And then at that point, I would be looking for yet another test of your weekend lows on the 4th of December, somewhere around 28 to 2,900 or so, and very likely another bounce around that region. Let's look at the higher term timeframes here as well. 5-day. Not great, but also not terrible. Not really making much out of that. Same thing on the weekly. Could very easily test back down to basically just below 3,000, and that'd actually be a good bouncy area, to be fair. I don't think that this one's going to be breaking down like significantly below your weekend lows if it does break down right here. But again, be aware of where the validation for that is, which again is 34.40 on a 4-hour closure. Below there, yep, I do look for this one to fall back down to the depths of hell. Now, of course, on the other side, you do have 3,900 to the upside. If it does reclaim that region, closing above, again, validation on the short-term timeframes, I would be looking for a short-term timeframe range move back up somewhere into the mid 4,000s, about 4,400 or so. And then the same sort of interpretation as before. If you can start to trade back, or sorry, not trade back above, but close back above, aka validation above this level, about 51, basically 5,200 essentially, then yes, I would be looking for this one to make a move up towards the same targets as before, 6,000 or so. Until then, momentum oscillators are we getting anything more on the bullish or bearish side? This one actually is. Are we closing on lows? Yeah, we are closing on lows. This one actually does have potential regular bullish divergence, so it would be more on the putting in a low right here. Again, that'll be confirmed above 3,900 on a closure. If that happens, you will actually have regular bullish divergence right here as RSI is making an ever so slightly higher low, with price action making lower lows. And that'd probably be good for, yeah, a short-term continuation of that drive. So that's the hoping right there. I do think it's possible. Probably gonna be easier to watch the rest of the market. You know, if Bitcoin pops back above, I don't know, let's say 52,000. That's at the point where you probably see SHIB coin getting going as well. But until then, you know, definitely not my favorite chart of all time, but this one's been beat up quite a fair bit, man. This one's been beat up a lot. So let's see how yeah, it's already gone down about 66.5% from its highs. You can always go down another 66% to be fair, but for right now, I think you're more in a bouncy area than not. If you get a quick wick down and then bounce up from that low side of the short-term time frame range, that's probably going to be a good sign. Still, I'd wait for the 3,900 level to validate, and then, well, probably continues back up to your prior range highs and would look okay. Hopefully that was helpful though. And there you go for SHIB. Or maybe we just do one more thing very quickly here. Let's see if momentum also just can kind of help us out with a bit of a bias. Let's see, I guess we got to go to maybe Coinbase. 4-hour turns back above, turns up back above about 3,700. Okay, interesting. 12-hour is freshly up above 34. Okay, also, you know, a little more on the bullish side. Daily turns up above 38. All right, and hourly stays up above 36. So I'm not getting a huge bias from that short term. It still does look like it kind of wants to test to the downside. I'd give it a chance to bounce though, and then come back to it after that. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for SHIB coin, sir. Okay, sweet. Sweet. Vince says Matic USD short, and yep, we already did Matic, sir. Again, you've been here a million fucking times, and you should already know just one at a time, man, for the love of God, but it's okay. I appreciate it still. We'll go look at Ethereum for you. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, and what do we have? We have the same range as before, baby, the same fucking range as before, but it's all good because staying within this range is going to be implied for a bullish resolution more long term. But as we said yesterday, probably not happening today or tomorrow or maybe even this week. Here's the thing though, as long as you're above about 39.50 to the downside and below about 45.20 to the upside, nothing new's really happened here, but this is going to be again implied as a bullish resolution, mostly because we do see that this whole correction is coming off of declining volume and also, or sorry, declining volatility and declining volume as well, actually. And this one's actually been one of the better actors in the cryptocurrency sphere, especially with the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, which we'll go over soon enough. Anyways, daily RSI is, I mean, it's neutral really, but it is back above the exponential on that, so that is more on the good side. It's really splitting hairs here, by the way. 4-hour time frame, what are we looking like right here? Looks like it actually is trying to set in a higher low at the 4,300 level. So I would go as far as saying this: hey, if you do see a closure, can we use an hourly here? Yeah, we can use an hourly here. If you do see an hourly closure below 42.65 in this case, I would look for one more run at the bottom side of your range, somewhere around, you know, 4,000 to 4,100 or so. Kind of large, but yes, that's okay. Until then, this actually does look like a bit of a higher low on the short-term timeframes. We even do have a phantom drive of bullish divergence forming right here as well. So I probably would give this one a chance to pop back up first to 45.20-ish or so. Here's the thing though, if you can validate above 45.20, the same targets from before still apply. Short-term, over the next week or so, I'd be looking at a retest of your all-time highs at 4,800. Very likely a short-term pullback there, tries for a higher low somewhere, you know, a little bit under there. However, long-term, upon validation above essentially 4,800, I do still look for the major targets at about 50 5,400 to 5,500 in the following weeks. That would look pretty damn good. Of course, on the other side, 3,950 to the downside, or is it 3,950? Yeah, about 3,950 to the downside. If you do close below there, I do look for this one to come down significantly. And when I say significantly, I mean 3,600 to 3,700 minimum. That look pretty damn bad. Again, this is on closing basis, but going over here to our trending charts, we do see basically the same thing. Monthly continues to trend above the top side trend band. We just had a correction down to the 9 exponential average. That is, fine as far as I'm concerned. And again, we do have the greater formation and technical target up to the 5,400 level. So that is a technical target plus 1 spot 618 Fibonacci extension. So good confluence there as well. And if we do go over here and look at the Bitcoin pairing, I always want to focus back on this because this one's been just one of the easier ones, to be fair. And whenever you got something that's easy, well, fucking take it, man. Trading's already hard enough. So in this case, we do see the weekly did confirm its breakout alongside the 5-day, which we identified a little bit earlier than that, which does have technical targets up to about 9.5 million Satoshis. And this one is trending right now, actually. As you can see, it is trending above the top side trend band, and they are starting to open up. So volatility is expanding alongside trend continuation. And as we looked at yesterday, momentum is also increasing. Anyways, yeah, but after I get through this. Anyways, so I would be looking for a pullback after that target is met. However, upon validation above there, even on like a daily closure, I would be looking for the next set of targets to be activated. Shorter term in the next week or so, I'd be looking for 109. Longer term, I'd be looking for, and this is like months down the road, probably somewhere around here between about 0.16 to maybe even 0.19 region, which would be rather impressive. So I still think that those are active. And of course, in validation on this is actually the same as yesterday and the day prior and the day prior than that, which would be 7.75 million Satoshis. This one's trending right now on all time frames, though. Even the 4 hour is just trending right here. So all good in the hood on that one. Maybe we just briefly go over here. I just want to see volatility actually expanding on our BBWP. It should be, though, on the weekly. Let me just pop it out right there. Yep. Yes, indeed it is. Yeah, looking really, really good right there. Again, still playing out the hidden bullish evidence. So this is a massive macro technical breakout, which is good. All right, cool. Okay, cool. So also we are going to shut down the super chats after this moment. Because buyers are buying. Oh, Nikki, that's too logical. That's way too logical. If you could post a message now, Elsa, I'll pin it. But yeah, all the super chats after this moment will unfortunately not be able to be read. The ones before, though, you're all good there. Just can't do the ones after this moment, however. All right, let's see. I'm just going to wait very quickly for this one. There it is. Beautiful. All right, sweet. And we'll replace that one. Nice. And let's pop on over here. Jack Edwards, welcome to the Caveman, and good to have you, sir. Mr. Ryan Garrettson says, Dixie. Yeah, Dixie. Thoughts on correlation with Bitcoin? Okay. Two questions here, but let's nail this one down first. Okay, so when you're looking at the weekly, I think what the hopium is right now is that Dixie puts in a local high right here, which I believe is at one of our major levels, our last technical breakdown from July 2020. And with Dixie going down, the sort of the interpretation or the insinuation is that Bitcoin goes up because dollar down, Bitcoin up. Well, here's the problem with using Dixie. Dixie is the dollar's value relative to other fiat currencies. So it's not exactly what a lot of people think that it is. It's not like the absolute value of the dollar. It's the dollar relative to other fiat currencies. So there can be instances, there are instances, in fact, where the dollar value, Dixie will go up, but because other countries are printing more than the US, which is also printing an insane amount, the value of the absolute dollar is going down relative to assets. So it's not a direct relationship, and I think we always need to remember that, because the problem with that is that you're going to run into the wrong interpretations if you run with that assumption always. Now, it does seem to hold true more often than not over a long period of time. I've actually gone through and measured out like the last major moves on this one against Bitcoin, and it does hold true on the macro relatively well. But the problem with this is that this one is, for all intents and purposes on a monthly and higher, still bullish. Can we get pullbacks here? Yeah, we can certainly get pullbacks here. In fact, this is a great place to pull back somewhere around maybe $95 or so. And that has been a decent enough relationship with Bitcoin. We can also pull up a correlation coefficient. Not that you really need to. I mean, you can just overlay these charts, and it's like honestly, you really don't need that. It really does not fucking matter, in my opinion. Just looking at this, like, okay, is there an inverse relationship with them? Kind of, right? kind of. So when Bitcoin was going up over here from 2016 to 2018, Dixie was going down. When Bitcoin was putting its highs over here, Dixie was going up, obviously. Now you do see that Bitcoin did rally from 3,000 to 14,000 right here, where Dixie was rallying as well. And then same thing over here. I mean, you know, Bitcoin did put in rallies alongside macro rallies in Dixie as well. And then, of course, when Dixie started this downtrend over here, that's when Bitcoin actually put in its macro breakout above $20,000 and went to the moon and beyond. So, you know, it really only seems to work well if you are going to make a relationship between them on like very high term timeframes, on the trend and nothing less, not just like individualistic moves. What a lot of people I see do, which I think is very misguided and not useful and not relevant, is they'll go down to a low time frame, even like a fucking daily, to be honest with you, but especially like below a daily. And they'll be like, okay, Dixie went down, so Bitcoin must go up. Okay, well, that's not been working well. That's not been working very well right here. And you can see that very obviously, right? Both kind of coming down throughout this little consolidation right here. And they both went up right here too. If you're on the low-term time frame, it's just very, very misleading. It's not the proper way to be looking at it, at least in my opinion. So if you're on the macro, like the weekly trend or especially the monthly trend, that works quite well. Anything other than that, I don't think is great. So basically the hopium here is that Dixie puts in a local high. How would you confirm a local high? Well, I think we either spoke about this on my channel or Elliot's channel, but basically the confirmation of a local high is the same shit as what we said before. It needs to close below about 95.70 is where you need to do that in order to confirm a local high. Until then, it's just consolidation after a pretty nice rally. So I don't really have much to make out of it other than that. To be fair, the monthly, for all intents and purposes, is long-term bullish, as is the quarterly. I mean, if I showed you this chart, would you be bullish or bearish on it? Probably be bullish on it. You got a massive trading range. You just test the lows. You put in a higher low on it. Probably gonna go test the highs. You know, so a little bit of a sombering detail right there, but fair enough. All right, I'm gonna take another sip of this. Oh man, Bimmer, you have a great question, but I probably shouldn't answer it on this. All right, I'll read it out though. Bimmer says, in the second episode of Crypto Sims, you mentioned YouTubers show large trades, but it's sketchy. What's up with that? I don't want to go full into it because there have been others apparently who have tried to, or who have attempted to expose these people. And maybe it's not exposed. I mean, maybe it's just, you know, transparency, I guess. But they have been met with, you know, some apparently like some death threats or something like that. Like apparently it's been like a big deal. I don't know, and I don't really like want to bring this upon myself. But what I can say though is that when you see something like that, it's not always, but it's not always. But I can say that it might not be exactly as it seems. I'm not saying that it's a testnet account. It's not. It is real money, but the who fits the bill of it is maybe not who you might be led to believe. So I'll just leave that right there. Anyways, Jack Edwards says, hey mate, loving the Sims episodes. Nice, man. Yeah, I really enjoy them. Jason's great, man. Jason's fucking amazing. Can you take a look at Spell USD? I can. I don't know if this one's gonna have much of a chart here, nor did you include a time frame. So we're flying. Oh dear Lord. Okay, well that's a quarterly, so maybe not. Short term pulls back maybe like 1.6 cent or so. I don't have anything else to make out of this chart right here. I'd be looking at this one as bullish continuation above 2 cents on a 4-hour closure. Targeting moves towards 2.5 cents or so. Very, very new chart, so not really helpful here. Yeah, and it looks like most exchanges are kind of the same thing as well. Not really getting much from this, man. I really don't trust charts that are this new. Yeah, it's Coinbase even newer. I really don't trust charts out of this new, man. So I don't think I have a good or worthwhile opinion on this. If I had to call it, I think that you probably pull back here. It's not a death sentence. Anywhere down to like 1.5 to 1.6 is fine. Problems arise below 1.3. Below 1.3, I look at this as a bull trap. Until then, you know, where is your continuation or confirmation of continuation to the upside? Again, above 2 cents on a 4-hour closure, I look for moves towards 2.5 cents. Until then, I really don't have any good opinions on this chart. So unfortunately, I don't think it can be much of a help there, sir. Kyle McDonald says, Krown, my man, could you scope Hive on the daily and weekly for me? Rad, rad indeed. Tubular, sir. Very tubular indeed. Anyways, Hive over here. Okay, on Binance. Not great. Not fucking great, man. On the 4-hour. Daily. Probably looking for another spike low at about 140 or so. So you're looking at a daily and a weekly. Weekly's one on a pretty nice run here. Do we have bearish divergence on a weekly? No, we do not. What about a 5-day? No, we do not as well. All right, well, that's a little bit comforting then. I wouldn't call a breakdown on this one. This one isn't an uptrend, obviously, but oh dear lord, what did I just? Oh, okay, it did top out at the two spot 618. So this is pretty normal to see a consolidation around this region. I look at this one as still a good long term as long as you're above about $1.33 on a daily closure. I do think that you can very easily test down around there again, but I don't call this one a failed or a failure or reversal as long as you're above about $1.33. Below there, yeah, I do look at this one as likely to come back down to 93, 94 cents. But for right now, okay, just short term, consolidating at best, probably test another downside move. Where would I get bullish on this one? Once again, it's not really bullish is the right term, but looking at this one is like in a stronger vein. That'd be above your yesterday's spike high at about 193.5. At that point, I'd be looking for this one to return back up towards 230 to 235. And this one would look really, really good after that. You know, I wouldn't necessarily call a continuation exactly from that, you know, from that time point, but it'd be looking a lot more like a healthy consolidation after a breakout on the macro scale, which would be long-term good. It's just, you know, probably takes its time, to be fair. Anish says Ethereum. Yep, we already got that one. Michael Wong says, your Hawaii real estate. Man, we were looking at plane rides from Finland to Hawaii yesterday, and they're like extremely long, and there's no direct flights as well, which is really discomforting, man, because I actually really want to take Elsa to Hawaii. It's really, really nice place. I've only been there like once or twice, but really, really cool place. Anyways, Cadena, sure, man. Well, you live in a nice place. I don't know if you look at nice cryptocurrencies, however. Yeah, you look at pretty shitty cryptocurrencies, man. Thank God you live in Hawaii, man. Sorry, I can't help myself right now. I can't help myself, but at least it's not bringing out this right now. Sorry. Couldn't help it. But anyways, what time frames are you looking at, sir? No time frames given. Michael Wong, what the fuck? Sir? Look, not great as long as you're below 1290. Not great, man. The hopium is that you're going to put in a low somewhere around about $9, which kind of already tested down into. Yeah, not great on this one, man. What the fuck was that? Says Left House. Oh, wait. What was that? What was that? It's me, Bear Jesus, and I'm coming for your Cadena coins because I'm looking to accumulate all of your Cadenas for cheap and get you out of your amazing positions for your highly esteemed technologies. And you know what? It's all going to be used for Red Devil Power, baby! Okay, so this one put in a descending triangle at the top. We identified that ages ago. We called a top on this one like back in, I think it was November. You already played out the technical move on that one. It's likely to bounce around here a little bit more, but short-term timeframes, weak. Weird, I call this one a bit of a short-term timeframe reversal, which I don't know if this is relevant to you because you, well, you didn't include any timeframes, but above 1337.5, yeah, this one will have a bit of a bear trap reversal and probably trades back up towards 15.5 to $16, and that'll look good. That's the hopium right there. The doomium, should I do the doomium? The doomium is that this one never goes up again, and the second that you close back down below $10, oh baby, you're gonna get sent back down to Bear Jesus hellhole, maybe even all the way down to $7 even before your next big bounce. But hey, I don't know what fucking time frame you're looking at, sir, so please, if you're gonna incite Bear Jesus, it'd be best to do with, well, bit of time frame action right there. Look, it's more likely to bounce around here, to be fair, but I wouldn't call this one even a short-term time frame reversal until you do pop back above about 1337.5. That's where things start to change around. I mean, you did hit the technical target for the breakdown. Typically, you at least bounce around a little bit after that, which you're kind of getting right now. Movik says, that is annoying. Man, you came to the wrong fucking place on YouTube. Holy shit. Holy shit, man. You came to the wrong place. I bet you also hate laughing as well. Spike Shot says, "Hey Krown, hey, I'm having a great morning actually. It's early morning here in Helsinki, Finland. Do you mind giving your thoughts on FTM daily? Sure, let's go check it out. There it is, Dub Dogstep. I can never say that name properly. Oh my fucking god, Dub Dogstep, or is it Dog Dubstep? Dog Dubstep's actually significantly easier to say, but the other way around, not so much, man." Wow, man. So this one played down to our next level rather well. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, man. That one came all the way down to $1 over the weekend. Holy shit. What time frames are you looking at here? No time frame. Oh no, you did give a time frame. Daily. Okay, this one. A lot of these ones on the short-term time frames have a very similar setup. So last one on Cadena, you do put in a bit of a bear trap reversal back above 176 and basically 176 and a half or so on a 4-hour closure. At that point, I would be looking for this one to trade back up, not to here, but back up somewhere around about 215 to maybe even as much as 230, and that would look okay for a short-term reversal. Until then, whoa. What? Elsa is trolling me. Until then, I mean, if I'm shooting it straight, man, this does not look like a reversal right here. This one looks like it wants to come back down to about $1.30 to $1.25 and try for another low somewhere around there. You know, I still think it's wise to be defensive on the, yeah, I'm good on water. Thank you. But I still think it's wise to be defensive on a lot of these ones. Again, if you do trade back above this short-term time frame pivot, I do look for a nice move up, and that's going to act as a bit of a short-term bear trap. And this one, you know, maybe salvages itself. But until then, I mean, this is not great right here. And I do look for this one to probably break down. Where would I call a breakdown? Back down around, you know, $1.30 to $1.25. That would happen if you do get a 4-hour closure, let's call it below 143 in this case. Until then, give it a chance. If you pop back above here, I'd be looking for a rally first, and then we come back to it after that. Perhaps it changes the general picture, but forgive me if I'm not super, I'm not super inspired by a chart that looks like this. Again, hit extremes, bearish divergence. Now, you played all that out. So this one's going to take some time at best if this is putting in lows right here, but I hold some reservations on this one for now. Maxi Christoph says, "Greetings, man. Hey, greetings to you. I've never been greeted with greetings. Thank you, man. Greetings to you as well, sir. Could you take a look at Luna? Sure. Short term. All right. Maybe we do a general OB on this one because this one's been very interesting recently too. It's been one of the better actors, I believe. Yeah, it's okay. Well, let's see. Okay, short term. If you're just asking about short term, I do look for a little bit of downside here, back down to about 63. Should we do a video on this one? Yeah, fuck it, we'll do a video on this one. Here we have Terra Luna, symbol LUNA versus the dollar. Been follow up on this one in the last few days here, and we get our short-term move to the upside, down back around about 75 to 76, which is fine. However, we are still within a trading range, and after testing your highs and rejecting from your highs, you're very likely to come back down and test around your lows. Now, you do have rising bottoms as long as you're above essentially about 62 to 62.5 on a 4-hour closing basis. I do think that you can very easily come back down around here, and again, that would be a higher low anywhere above there, so let's say 63. But we need to see a bounce around there, and if you do start to break below about 62, maybe even 62.5, I'd say more like 62 on a 4-hour closure, then I would be looking for this one to, you know, come back down towards 57, anywhere between about 57 and, or sorry, not 57, 54 and about 50 even or so. 51.5 to 54 or so, if that were to be met. Until then, though, you know, you do still have your uptrend, obviously. Short term, again, bearish evidence on that last little high right there. A little bit of a phantom drive, to be fair. So probably not super powerful, but good enough to get it back down to the bottom side of the range. Daily is still long-term good, still holds your uptrend. There's nothing to really invalidate here on the daily as long as you're above about 55, or sorry, that 54 level on a daily closure. You still got higher lows there, so still looking good on the long-term timeframes. Weekly, just looks like a backfill of your last weekly open. You still have hidden bullish evidence over here, still looking at volatility expanding, so I do favor the upside based off of that. I just want to double check that it lines up with stochastic momentum over here too. That would be interesting to follow up on, and daily will flip back to the upside above 75.84. So short term it is corrective. 5-day turns back up above $69 or so, great number, but still short term corrective. Weekly will turn back up above 78. So the higher term timeframes are saying that this one is a little bit more corrective, short and medium term first. So I don't think it's going to be lifting off to new all-time highs just yet. Where would I adjust that statement or say that that's invalidated and I'm looking for new all-time highs, probably up towards $100 or so? Targets would be above yesterday's spike high at about 74.5 bucks on even just a wick higher than that. Until then, short term, looking for a little bit of downside, but just be mindful where your higher lows come in around. And what I'd actually really like to do is look at this one versus the Bitcoin parent. I think that this is actually very interesting right here. Well, the Bitcoin parent is actually showing some short-term downside here too. Can very easily come back down to your prior short-term lows at about 12,800 or so. Probably looking for a short-term bounce there. If you do fail, looking somewhere down around 12,000 even. Daily, long-term good, short-term corrective. Weekly, Again, long-term good, short-term corrective can easily come down to, 11,000 or so and still be long-term quite good. All higher-term time frames still bullish on this one, it looks like. So I don't have any major risks with that. Long-term, just short-term corrective here. So it depends how far down we come before we kind of judge the next set of targets. But just short-term right now, a little bit of downside implied. And then I want to come back to it after that, as it does have one of the better charts versus Bitcoin specifically, and 5-day just closed on new all-time highs as well. So that is rather powerful. But again, sideways at best here, short term, a little bit of downside. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Luna, sir. Prince DeCloud said, or says, CTSI crypto. Got it. CTSI. Okay. This thingy. No time frames given though. All right. Well, again, this one I don't know what time frames are going off of. I'm going off of the 5-day right here. I do look for lows somewhere around your 65 to 70 cent region, which you did get into over the weekend. Do you have another spike into that region sometime in the next 5 to 10 days? Maybe yes again, but I do look for lows within that region. Long term, this is okay. I mean, it is in a long-term uptrend, and you do have higher lows even above that region, both on a 5-day and a weekly. Question is, do you test that region again? And again, literally the same setup here that we see all across the lands. This one a little bit more on the exaggerated side, I would say, however. So if you're on a full hour, I would be looking at 86.68 as a 4-hour closing. As a bit of a bear trap confirmation above there on a 4-hour closure. At that point, I'd say, hey, yep, you do have your local low in here. You do have a nice bear trap as well. Very likely return back up towards your prior range. Highs somewhere around like a buck to a $1.10 or so, and that looked quite good. And this would really look like a major low. Until then, hanging on to your lows, it's not the worst thing right here, but where do I look for continuation back down towards the weekend lows? Anywhere below 74 cents, bad. Even on an hourly closure, below there, bad. Until then, looks like you got a bit of a local low right here. I'm sure people are going to call this an inverted head and shoulders. Don't really, it's okay. It kind of actually does work in this case. But again, the big area to be aware of is 86.68 actually. So above there, that's where this one does put in a nice bear trap. Probably easy to watch Bitcoin yet again. If Bitcoin does pull through, you very likely see this one pull through as well. Hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for CTSI, sir. Mr. Crypto Ricardo says INJ USD daily weekly. Sure. INJ USD. Okay. On Binance, and what the fuck? Daily and weekly, huh? Daily, week, very, very weak here. Broke its uptrend as well. Weekly, weak again. I think the hopium here is, this is hopium to be fair, but look, as long as you're below on a weekly closing basis, 1334, nothing to be excited about to the upside. As long as you're, riding this is hopium right here to be fair, but as long as you're riding this and putting in higher lows against your macro last low at July, it's okay, but I feel like that's a lot of hopium right there. Daily's not really showing any signs of bottoming just yet. Full hour, same thing. If I were to make a 4-hour relationship with which we see on other charts, this one's again on the relatively weak side, but where would you confirm a bit of a short-term bear trap? And this one would look okay back above 1087, which is rather far away from current price action. But that's what I'd be looking for. If that level is taken out to the upside, I would be looking for this one to retest around your range highs, and that's going to look a lot better for a major low right here and a macro higher low. But until then, I do feel like I'm kind of feeding you hopium, although I wouldn't necessarily call a breakdown in this case down to like $7 to $8 until you actually close it, or sorry, not $8, but $7 to $7.50 until you actually close a daily below about $8.60 in this case. Not great though, definitely on the weaker side. Patham says, hey man, can you do Solana daily and lower? Sure. Let me see how many videos I got today, because maybe we record one on this one as well. Let's see. Let's pop up this over here and pop up this over here. And holy shit, man, I see, oh my lord, man, 1.4 thousand likes on this video. Nice. Very, very nice, man. Again, major appreciation for that. We are on the 8th day of December. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we're already good. Okay, I guess no Solana video today. But I really want to do one, so let's do one. Here we have Solana, symbol SOL versus the dollar. Same thing as before, really. It's very similar chart to Ethereum, not as strong as Ethereum to be fair in the shorter term, but as long as you are above your 175 base, okay, just don't want to see a daily closure below there. If you do close below there, I do look for this one to retest your weekend wicks down to 155 to 160 or so. Until then, this is looking like a complex low and a reaccumulation, I suppose. It's got a lot of work to do still, but you will have hidden bullish divergence with lower lows on RSI already. If you can confirm a local low right here, how would you confirm a local low is the real question, and that would be implying a daily closure above basically 201. Above 201, I do confirm this is a local low. It would also be a higher low with hidden bullish evidence and very likely does target the range highs yet again at about 230, which is the area where I'd start to get a lot more excited about this thing. So above 230 on a daily closure, that's where I'd be looking for first a retest of the prior all-time highs within the next week or 10 days, somewhere around about 260 to 270. And then long-term upon validation above that 260 prior high, or I guess more like 270 actually, I would be looking for the next major macro targets to be met, 300 plus actually, in the following weeks. That actually pretty damn good. Speaking of the higher term timeframes, what do we have right here? Weekly still kind of trudging along. I think it will have a chance. We do see that this correction is coming on massively declined volatility, which we haven't seen volatility this low since basically July, which set in this base over here before the last mega breakout from $30 to $200, which is rather impressive. The time before that where we saw relatively low volatility was back on over in December 2020, so about a year ago, from 180 all the way to $50. So very, very impressive right there, but did take its time obviously as well. Other than that, maybe we just briefly go over here and see if stochastic momentum agrees or disagrees with this. Maybe if the daily starting to turn up, that'd be a good sign, and it is not actually. It'll turn back up above 208 spot 79. 12-hour turns back up above 196.5, so that is a little bit better, but still actually somewhat far away as this one's trading below 190 right now. 4 hours freshly turning down below 202, and hourly is turning up right now above 187. So this one actually does look like it's a little bit more primed to test the downside first. I'd even say a 4-hour closure above, basically above 204 would do it for me as well for a little bit of a short-term local low in there and very likely testing around the range highs again. But, at best, I think this one's going sideways for a while here, and at worst, it obviously breaks below about 175. And at that point, kind of have to put on your hard hat as this one very likely comes down significantly after that towards basically your weekend wick low, and we come back to it after that. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Shalana, sir. Cool. Scott Rourke, welcome to the cave as well, sir. Let's see. Simple Gain says, do you hodl ETH? I do, actually. Also, CRV, BTC, high term time frame. Okay. I'm guessing this one's probably doing all right versus Bitcoin. This one would be interesting to see. Yeah, pretty damn good right there. Pretty damn good indeed. Let's see. Got another higher low on the daily right there. Hidden bullish evidence accompanies it. Just want to see it pop back above about 89.50. This one very likely goes on for... it's not really working off of much right here, but you are kind of looking at a macro breakout above that level essentially, with long-term targets, I guess. This is kind of like ridiculously exaggerated, but okay, I can't be calling a target towards 30,000 satoshis. That's ridiculous. Let's see what's relevant from this perspective. More like 15 to 16,000 satoshis in the following weeks upon validation above there. Invalidation below your last daily higher low, 77,000 satoshis. Looking pretty good here though. Looking pretty good. ARC says, what do you look for as an edge to buy, support, sell resistance? Anything you can share would be greatly appreciated. So you're basically talking about range trading. So buy, support, sell resistance. It's actually pretty damn simple, man. So when you're talking about range trading, which I used to consider myself primarily a range trader, I'm actually starting to switch a lot more into primarily as a trend trader whilst also kind of scalping trends as well, I guess, using my Krown cross strategy. But, let's just go to an example maybe on like an hourly right here. All right. So in this case, when you see a consolidation, oops, hey, stop it. Okay. When you see a consolidation like this, right? Like this right here. All right. So what do? Well, once you start to see it actually trade sideways for a while, you pick out the lows, you pick out the highs, simple stuff right there. Sell the highs, buy the lows. Obviously easier said than done. Then the real question is like, where do you take profits? You're not always going to get a test back up towards the prior range high or low, depending upon whether you bought or sold, the opposite side of that. But it's kind of what you're looking for right there. To be honest, Bitcoin has been a little bit of a better trend trader recently. So, but basically, if your question is quite literally, what is the edge? Just horizontals upon range highs and range lows. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And it's better to err on the side of conservativeness when picking out those highs and lows rather than being aggressive with them, because once it blows through, it's usually going to blow through like a big time, and that can be rather risky. Dan, the OP man, says, my first time doing this. All right. Hey, it's my first time as well, sir. Can you take a look at Dusk USD? Oh, shit. We got some shit coins here. All right. Well, I shouldn't judge it yet. Maybe it's great. Maybe it's amazing. Dusk Network. That sounds legit as fuck. And actually not so bad on an hourly. Actually, not so bad on a 4-hour. Oh, I judged it too soon. Shame on me. It's a higher low on a daily, and it's retesting your macro range highs. This is quite good. This is quite good. All right, 4-hour and daily. Gotcha. Write that one down as well. So you got a higher low right here. Very fucking exaggerated, but hey, it is a higher low, and you should have hit him, or yeah, you should have hit him bullish over between this point and this point, but fair enough. Very, very common to sell off on the retest of your prior range highs. Yes, we get that. Short term, does it pull back a little bit more? Can pull back easily towards 30 cents. That's not a problem. I don't think that's what you're concerned with. I remain bullish on this one as long as you're above 30 cents, however, on a daily, and confirmation and validation of your next major macro breakout is above basically your spike high of yesterday at 42 cents on a daily closure. At that point, this thing is actually quite constructive over the last year and a half, and not bad. I'd be looking at targets up towards 60 cents to 75 cents over time, over the following weeks. Until then, short term, bit of a consolidation on a 4-hour, I'd say. Not really getting too much from this, to be fair, but I'm inclined to say that it does pull back a little bit more and try to set in a higher low somewhere around that 30-cent region. And yeah, let's 4-hour BBWP cool off. Until then, higher term time frame still good. Just, a lot of the time you're going to see a pullback based off that region right there. Cool. Snack says AVAX USD on the 12-hour and 5-day. Looking for a reentry at 70s. Did I miss the dip? The dip, well, the problem with the dip is that sometimes it can keep on dipping. Did you miss the reentry at 70? Well, I think only like 1 or 2 people got to buy the 75 dip right there. 12-hour, you can easily come back down here, man. It's kind of the same thing as Bitcoin in this case, but where would I say that you are effectively putting in a major low right here and likely to work its way back up towards 110, maybe even 115, 120 or so, with a 4-hour closure back above your 97 range highs, your 97 and some odd change range highs right there. Back above there, I look at this as an inverted head and shoulders and a reversal and a bit of a short-term bear trap with targets back up towards basically 115. And at that point, I would not be looking for another run towards your, I wouldn't even say $75 lows. I'd say you'd probably come back down to like $80 or so, or $82. Now here's the thing, when I look at a weekly, when I look at a 5-day, this does not look like a low right here and could very easily come back down and test that region. So, while it would put in a short-term low, if that condition is met, I just want to come back to it after that. Actually, I don't think I should say anything more on top of it. But until that condition is met on the short-term timeframes, it is technically more likely to retest that $80 low or so. So I'll leave that right there. And again, be aware of the 5-day and the weekly, both of which are questionable right now, but it's a long week left to go, obviously. What about a monthly? Monthly is actually okay. Monthly just got a backfill, so that'll also be a little more on the bullish side. I just want to see this one really, really take out your short-term time frame range highs. That's where this one starts to confirm a local low right there, and that's at the point where I'd say no. I'd say that you did miss your entry at about $80 or so, not 75. I think that's a little bit. If you go down there, or at least I wouldn't want it, but fair enough. Until then, just either to watch the general market, meaning Bitcoin in this case. Bitcoin pushes up, past, 52 or so? Good. If not, well, probably get your chance, maybe even lower than that though. And let's actually talk about what happens if that would happen. Minimum I'd be looking for another retest of like 78 to $80. If things could really get nasty, and this would be like a Bitcoin breakdown well below $50,000. If this were to happen, I'd be looking towards 65. I think that's still well and far away though, however. Okay, cool. Jack Asman says Ethereum Bitcoin 4 and daily. I think we did that one earlier and I recorded it, so we're good there. But if you want to look at something very specific, we can do that. Basically, it's trending all time from still and looking pretty fucking good still. So hopefully that takes care of that. Justin Alexander says sand on a 5-day. Yeah, no one's asked about sandbox in a while now. Used to be very popular for like a couple weeks there. And that's why it's not just going to the moon and beyond for right now. You're looking at a 5-day. Well, it's really not a 5-day that you actually want to be watching on this one, at least in my opinion. Let's just actually try this one off for the 4-hour. The same thing as the other ones on the 4-hour. Back above about 609, this actually does look like a major low right here, and I'd be looking for a return back up towards 720 plus. Until then, you do have lower highs. You do have a redistributed pattern right here, and a break below about 510, and I look for this one to get sent back down somewhere around your weekend wick lows at 411. If you want to specifically look at a 5-day, that would be, well, it's actually kind of in no man's land to be fair. 5-day says if it breaks down if it breaks down below there, you're looking at like 315 to 320. So there is a lot of risk in this one involved, and you do have a bit of a head and shoulders formulating on a 5-day RSI, but that would imply short term it does pop back up here. So I'd just be aware of this area right here. Again, if it pops back above 609, I'd be looking for a rally first, somewhere into the low 7s, and then we come back to it after that. Maybe even it turns out to be full on bullish after that. Definitely possible. If Bitcoin breaks down and this one breaks below about 490, that's going to be very problematic and very likely does retest your weekend wick lows and maybe even lower over time. Saul Palino says, can you check out Ethereum? Yep, we already did that a couple times. Let's see. Leo YouTube says, Ola Krown, any update on your options testnet or rect? No, it's actually still doing pretty well. Let me just pull it up over here. I haven't made any changes to it though. That's why I don't really update on it. But let's see. Hold on, I'm just pulling it up right now. Yeah, still running about 33 Bitcoin. So I did give up some profits right here. I think I was up to like 37 before. Now took a little bit of a downturn to 33, but again, I can manage those and probably make some decisions off that relatively soon. But I don't really want to do anything exactly right here. I want to either do something a little bit below 50 or a little bit above 54. We didn't even talk about the relevancy of 54 today either. Jesus Christ, man, I completely missed the ball on that one. I guess we kind of did. on CME, but 54,000 bucks still the major area, at least for myself, to be like, okay, it's good, really, really good. Anyways, Murray Kerr says, good morning, Miss Krown. Hey, good morning, sir. Gold on the weekly, monthly. We kind of looked at that one earlier. I feel like, did I already do this one? I like this one as a local low right here. And I do like this one as likely to trade back up towards 1820 to 1830 or so. Just want to see a daily closure above about 1800. Would look pretty damn good. Yeah. But you bought at 1980. So I guess you're just, I guess you're a community member now of the gold cartel. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, man. But I do think that you're putting in a bit of a daily low right there. Do I think that you're going to work your way back upwards and onwards? Yeah, this does look like a monthly base right here. I've been saying this for like the last couple months now. You're probably putting in a base at 1750 or so. Don't really have anything to update right there, and probably does work its way back up towards 1900 plus. But you're at 1980. You bought the highs of the highs. So you bought way over here in August of last year. Not even this year, but last year. Man, you've been holding for a long time. Holy shit. Diamond hands. Unfortunately, you don't get paid to have diamond hands. Lewis Goldie says, Cadena. Yep, we did that one earlier, so good there. Jeremy Shulman says, Pfizer weekly, monthly. Sure. Okay. Actually don't know the ticker of that one, so I'm just going to type it in. Pfizer. Oh, you can trade Pfizer futures. That's great. Oh, it's an Indian exchange. Okay, it's got to be on NYSE. Yeah, there we go. PFE. Pretty damn good right there on the monthly. Yeah, weekly, monthly. Okay, gotcha. Weekly, a little bit of a local high, bearish divergence on the weekly. Might come back down to 47 or so. That's fine. Monthly is obviously still bullish long term. So short term pullback, long term, it's actually even a long term macro technical breakout above your, where is this, 2000s high. So this goes for the last like 21 years, and you just got the breakout right there. Getting your first pullback. Long term, I expect that this one goes up towards 60 bucks, somewhere in like Q1 to Q2 of 2022, and then we come back to it after that. But this is pretty damn good. Where would I invalidate long term breakout and bullishness? Very easily below 43. Big ranges right there, but this one is on a macro scale there, and you are on a monthly, so going to be natural. Matt Sorrell says, can you check out NVX from the Australia Stock Exchange? Got it. And thanks, man. Appreciate that. NVX. Okay. Here we go. Let's try actually spelling it properly. There we go. Novonix. And you're looking at a what? No time frames given. God damn it, sir. God fucking damn it. This does look like a top right here. Do we have hidden bullish evidence? No, we do not. Probably comes back down to 670 over the next few weeks. Daily. Bounces first, I'd imagine. So maybe back up to 10 and a quarter, but I remain looking at downside for this one. As long as you're closing dailies below about $11. So short-term bouncy, yes, but pray to Bula, Jesus, that it gets back above $11 in the next week or two. Otherwise, I'm looking down towards 675. Yeah, you got a little bit of a rejection right there. Here's a real chart as well. Kind of toppy-ish. But hey, above $11, I'd switch around my opinion on that. Until then, I just think short-term continuation of bounce, long-term test a little bit to the downside. Mr. Henderson, there he is. LCID, again, dipped a bit lower than expected. Wondering if you still see upside. Okay, with the tarot cards, let's check it out. All right, Lucid Group on NAS. Okay, yeah, this one did actually come down a little bit. Wait, no. No, no, we looked at this one yesterday and we said bounces off of 38.5. I mean, this is still fine in my opinion. It's probably gonna come back down and retest around your lows, but that's okay. $40. I would really only get bearish on this one below, basically not yesterday's, but the day prior than that, the 6th of December lows. Below there, that's where your problems are. Until then, this is just a corrective move for right now and okay. With short term, yes, I do think that it will test back down around that low, but that's okay. Just want to see it bounce around there. Just don't close below there. If it does, then I'm looking for moves down towards 32.5 to 33. Long term, still in a better posturing than not, but well, then again, if I do look at the weekly, okay, that is maybe a little bit more on the concerning side, but monthly still breakout long term. I'm gonna be running with that. What about an hourly here? Hourly, yeah, again, showing some bullish divergences on the lows right now. I'm looking at this as likely a bounce area and likely does try for a local low. I really only get concerned about this one below, again, 6th of December low. Cool. Jack Jansen says, oh, here we go. Merit Circle versus Wrapped Ethereum. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord. All right, 1 and 4 hour. Still terrible. Still pretty bad, but very likely to bounce here. This thing can bounce up all the way to, what is this, yesterday's high? No, 6th of December high. Not a big fan of this chart as long as you're below there, though. Above there, I do look for this one to put in a nice move towards 0.017 or so. Not great, though, man. NY Fiero says NIO stock. Okay. Oops, there we go. All right, on Nicey. And what do we have? You're looking short, medium, and long. That's helpful. All right, let's see. Do we have a break below range lows? Look, I don't know if this one's going to break from here. It is bearish long term, though. I mean, it's just a bunch of lower highs, man. Probably bounces at least one more time, though, if I had to guess. But you got one massive long-term descending triangle. This one over the next few years probably works its way down below $20. Short term, probably bounces again here at 32.5 or so, and fills out the space a little bit more. But anything below $43 is just long-term bad. So short-term bouncy, probably get one more pity bounce off this region, but long-term very bearish as long as you're below 43. That would be my invalidation for I guess bullishness, I guess. But again, some hopium there. This is distribution over a long period of time. What's up, Ricky O? Hey, man. Let's look at this little battler, please. .USD. Okay, daily, weekly. All right, let's see where the old polka dot is nowadays on Binance, and bouncing up still. I'd still give it a chance to bounce here, man. Kind of the same thing as Bitcoin and everything else. I would also call a range resolution, or essentially range resolution above about 31.5 on a 4-hour closure. I do look for this one to rally back up towards 35.5 to 36 or so. Until then, big problems below 26. Yeah, below 26, which I actually don't think is going to happen. But if it did happen, I would be looking for this one to retest about $22, maybe even all the way down to like 21.5 to $22 or so. Until then, I think you're into more of a bouncy territory right there. Cool. Futo Kuko says, appreciate the guidance, man. I'm just sharing my stupid opinions on these markets, man. That's all. Would you mind looking at longer time frames for SOV USD? Okay. Does it have a bottom? I would imagine that, it's going to probably be doing whatever Bitcoin does, but does it have a bottom? No, this is not a fucking bottom, man. This is fucking ugly. Jesus Christ. Where would I call it? I mean, okay, longer time frames. It's not really much of a longer term time frame on something that's been around for a few months here, since September or basically October. Where would I call a bottom on this one? Daily closure back above $17.5. I'd call a bottom. Until then, this is just garbage. It's never had a bottom. It's never had any bottom. That is a reversal. I think your real question is, where is the reversal? And the reversal is much worse than that, man. This thing does not have a daily reversal for a very long time, especially as long as you're below 23 and a quarter or so. So I think I'll just leave it right there. But if you're looking for bottoms on this one, you're typically picking bottoms, you're typically going to get your hands smelly. And there's going to be bounces, probably even bounces from here. I mean, looks like you are kind of getting into a bouncy territory, but bounce is not the same as reversal. Very weak, very ugly, very bad. So yeah, I do think it's going to put in a bottom relatively soon. That is not the same thing as a reversal. Reversal talk does not happen on the current chart as long as you're below, especially 23. Fucking ugly, man. Real bad. Real ugly. Maybe there's another chart that actually has something. Oh, it's even worse. It's even worse here. Oh man, it's likely to bounce off this region though. It's testing your prior all-time low. I mean, you get pity bounces around that region, but even bouncing up to like 18.5 is just nothing. Doesn't do anything for the daily. Ugly, man, very ugly. But good to meet you. Vanyo, Despotovs, definitely Russian, LPT, USD, most data on Poloniex. Got it. And thank you for that, man. I appreciate the heads up on the most data exchange. That actually does really, really help. Okay, so this is one that I don't think I've really heard of. Live Peer. All right. Okay. 4 hour and daily. I guess if you are trading the trend, I mean, you got your higher lows right there, I suppose, on probably like a weekly. 4 hour, same thing as a lot of the other charts, right? Currently, still lower highs, changes around above 46.87 above there. You do have a bit of a short-term bear trap confirmation with targets back up to like 55.5 to 56. Until then, big problems, big problems below 37.37. Is that right? Yeah, 37.37, looking for another fill of your weekend wick low on 4th of December. Down to $30. Probably try for another bounce there. Weekly. Weekly does look like you could very easily test some downside, but I'd still wait for the range resolution right there. Again, same setup as most other things in this market. Jason Whittaven, appreciate that, man. Elliot Diggs says, hey, man, all good, brother. Link BTC, okay. All right, can't promise you're gonna like me after my analysis here, though. Actually, it's okay on a 6 hour. Little bit of a short-term bear trap confirmation above that 4,200-ish level. I do look for this one to continue up somewhere around about 4,600 daily. Does have a nice low end. Do we have bullish divergence present? No, no, but I do think that it does continue a little bit more, probably somewhere around 46 to 4,700 Satoshis, and then come back to it after that. Long term, don't like how it's trending down towards, well, I just don't like how it's not trending up, I'll put it that way. But yeah, I do think that you got a little bit of upside right there in the short term. Cool. John Brooks says C pool 12 hour and daily. Okay, how are we already 2 hours and 5 minutes into this? How are there so many goddamn super chats? Not much history here. Also not much history here. 12 hour and daily. There ain't a daily to look at, man. Bear trap above about 123, 123 and a half, and I look for moves back up towards 150 to 155. Until then, big problems, big fucking problems below $1 even. Looking for this one to shatter the floor down to like 90 to 85 cents after that, if that were to happen. 4 hour. Actually did put in a higher high right there for what it's worth, and does have some higher lows. So just want to see a 4 hour just basically above your last high at 123, and that'll look a lot better for a short-term reversal. 12 hour and daily though, don't think we can do it on those. A little bit too new, man. Cool. Let's see. Elucid Lorax says, greetings from Alaska. Hey, nice, man. You're like the only person living in Alaska. What the hell? It's probably the only place that's more cold than here too. I've seen most episodes here. Fucking awesome, man. It's been about half my trading education. Well, that's cool, man. Now you're consistently profitable. Fuck yeah. That's awesome. Hell yeah. That's really, really cool, man. I'm really happy for you. That's the goal. Huh? Yeah, Jason. Oh, Gem Guardian. Okay, what? Sir, ticker would be great. Gem Guardian. All right, I don't think this is going to be on TradingView, man. Guardian. Yeah, this is not on TradingView, man. Gem Guardian. I'm guessing it's like a very obscure shitcoin, but unfortunately it's not on TradingView. Or maybe it's just new, but yeah, Gem Guardian. Yeah, it's not there, man, unfortunately. Have a look at Gala, please, says Eric from Ohio. Cool. All right. GALA on Binance. And what do we have? Same shit as all the other charts, man. Above 56 cents, good. You know, has a little bit of a short-term bear trap and trades back up towards 67 to 68 or so. That'll look good for a major low right here. Big problems below 42.5 cent. Looking for at minimum a retest of your like 40 cent lows or so. Maybe lower than that over time, but something like this, what I'm looking at. Oh, I already have it in. Nice, perfect. It's like it's been unchanged. Above here, good. Below here, bad. Short term, it's not really giving any biases. Momentum offsets are more on the bearish side short term, but I wouldn't put too much on that right now. Matt C says, hey, big boy. Hello, I am big boy responding. Theta USD, 4 hour daily monthly. Okay. Theta. Okay, Theta token Binance. 4 hour daily monthly. Is there a monthly on this? Yeah, there is. Not great. Not great. Probably didn't want to look at the monthly though. Not great right there. Weekly breakdown. Well, broke below your last higher low right there. That was kind of the hoping before. Daily. Are we bouncing first up to 540? Possibly yes. Same setup right here, right? Above 515, I look for that move to maybe more like 550 to 570, but I am actually bearish on this thing as long as you're below 570. it is kind of a breakdown and starting to lose your higher lows, man. Well, that's not good. That's not great. 5-day. Yeah, not great right here. Short-term bouncy. Just want to see this one trade above your 520 high actually. And then yeah, I do look forward to make a nice move up towards 565 to 570. That would look okay. Until then, big problems below 436. If you do take out 436 to the downside, I look for this one to retest 420. Great number right there. I do think this one's more likely to bounce first, and I do think that you will get a pity bounce regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish, somewhere around like your mid fives for what it's worth. Cool. David says, Krown, how are you, sir? I'm all right, man. I got a good night of sleep last night. How do I confirm a local low or local high and confirm divergence? Well, first off, divergence is confirmed upon the confirmation of a local low or local high. So you don't need to confirm divergence. It either is there or it is not there, meaning that there's a divergence between highs and lows on both the RSI and price action. Now, how do you confirm a local low or local high? That is a real skill in that whole matter and probably what you're more so after. And you're looking for essentially stop and reverse points. In this case, you can, if they're not obvious, they're not it. So in this case, you have a stop and reverse point right here. So that's a low, that's a high. That's a low, that's a high. Right here, is this going to be a low? A little bit too early to say. Maybe it is on an hourly. It is on an hourly, actually, yes. So once you have that, once you can confirm, you know, a slew of local lows or a slew of local highs, at least 2, and sometimes even as much as 4, then you go look at your RSI oscillator and then you know, basically adjust them up. So for example, you got this low right here and this low right here, and you got, god damn it. And then you got this low right here and an ever so slightly higher low right there. So there's a divergence between a lower low on price action and a higher low on the RSI oscillator. And there's your bullish divergence. Or you just be like me and buy Caretaker's RSI, and it's like training wheels, but I ain't too proud to admit it. So fair enough, man. Ghost Whale says, Mr. Moby, there he is, jazz me 4 hour and daily and long term. Okay, I don't think there's much of a long term on this, at least I'm gonna guess. Let's see 4 hour daily and long term. Yeah, not a long term on anything that's been around for less than a month. You know, same sort of setup as across the lands here. Below 1130, very bad. A retest, very likely back down to 10 cents if that were to happen. Above 14 and a quarter, I look for this one to retest somewhere around about 16 to 16 and a half or so. Not much of a chart there though. Yeah, daily is not even gonna, I mean, daily just looks ugly as fuck. Let's see. ESO David says AMP USD. Okay, 1 and 4 out, right? AMP. Oh, whoops. Hey, stop that. Okay, man. Maybe we should have shut off the chats a little bit earlier. This is it's quite long. Well, congratulations to you, sir. Anyways, 1 and 4 out. Okay, so are we about to impulse? Are we about to impulse? I'm guessing you mean to the upside. There's no real talks of a short-term reversal as long as you're below 5.4 cent, but above there, yeah, you do have a bit of an inverted head and shoulders and a bit of a bear trap reversal, probably back up towards 6 cent. But would I call that an impulse? I don't know if I'd say that. It's still actually okay long-term. You still do have the higher lows on the weekly, but man, that is a really bizarre chart to be looking at. I can tell you where you also have major problems. That would be below about 4.9 cents. Looking for a retest of your weekend lows and probably be on after that. Kervin Williams says this channel blew up fast. Yeah, man, it's fucking, I don't even know how to interpret it. I mean, shit, man, we got like 1,600 people watching right now. We got 1.6 thousand likes. I mean, what do you make out of that? I don't know. I don't fucking know, man. Crazy shit. Block 2 and 4 hour. Okay, nice. And you know it because you've been here for a long time and you know that this thing doesn't really have high term timeframes going on here. And again, same sort of setup, right? Same sort of setup on the lower term timeframes. Above 9.6 cent or so, good. And I look for this one to travel back up towards 10, 11 cents, or probably more like 11 to 12 cents actually. Hourly, same thing. Big problems below about 7.7 cents. Looking for a retest of your weekend lows, and then probably meltdown after that, or probably more like 6.8, 6.9 cents if that were to happen. But for right now, you know, long term, as long as it's holding on the 55 right there, it's probably okay, and probably does get a bit of a pity bounce here. But again, easier to watch Bitcoin. If Bitcoin gets a bounce, everything else probably does too. If not, then probably not. Oh, Decentralized is here. Holy shit. Good to see you, brother. Good to fucking see you, man. And welcome to the cave as well. Kromulian. Oh, wait, nope. Meat Sweats. I definitely get a lot of that. Opinion on spell chart, please. I think we... Oh, we changed it. All right, to what?
Opacity.
What the fuck?
It's like
Okay, opacity, OPCT. Okay, looking for a 1 to 2 months old. Well, does it even have a chart that long? Almost. Actually, yeah, it does. Going back to May. Actually pretty good right here. This is a higher low. It's good. This is good actually. I shouldn't have judged this one. This one's actually quite good. OPCT. I'm bullish on this thing as long as your closing daily is above 36 cents. I'm looking for this one to pop back up towards 48 to 50 cents. Short-term timeframes, yeah. Invalidation below about 37.5 cents for right now. This one's just flagging out after a nice little reversal. It's good. A lot better than most other things. Long-term macro, I'd get very excited above about basically 50 cents on a daily closure. Looking for, I'm guessing, massively new all-time highs. Let's go see what the general targeted regions would be. Somewhere around, oh, Jesus Christ, somewhere around like 70 cents would be the next one upon validation above your 50-cent highs or so. Cool. Let's see. Gemini Athlete says XLM Stellar. Oh my God, man. Is this thing still trading? Okay. Pretty ugly, but this one actually, compared to most other things, does have a higher low. So at least it's got that. It's got something like that going on. It's not much, but it's something, baby. It's something. Definitely relatively weak, I would say. 4 hour and daily. Let's see, 4 hour. 4 hours actually already popping above your bear trappy area. I would actually be looking for this one to pop back up. And this probably bodes well for most things that we looked at today. Probably does imply that they are going to pop up their short-term time frame resolutions. And this thing probably trades back up towards 32 to 33 cents or so. And you got a local low on the daily. Yeah. I actually think this is probably a major low right here and a very easy one to manage as well. Below 27.5 cents, bad on a daily closure. You know, this one gets wrecked again, but until then, quite good actually. Or I wouldn't say quite good, but very likely a major low right there. Yeah, big volume spike on that one too. Admiral Tiki said, hey man, I appreciate that, man. I'm not educating, man. I'm just sharing my experience right here. That's all. I'm not a teacher nor a hand holder. I'm just trying to share things in ways that are hopefully helpful to other people because it also helps myself too. So anyways, you're saying, could you look at ALEPH? Okay. It's a new one for me, on KuCoin. It's always the new ones on KuCoin. It's week and daily. Okay. It's actually been around there for, yeah, a good enough time, I guess. You're saying first lower low on daily, wondering thoughts on macro outlook. I like this weekly area for at least a bounce and a try higher off this bounce. And yeah, you're right. It does have a lower low on the daily. We didn't actually break your weekly range lows, which are right here. Yeah, right here. Basically kind of tested into them. So far, so good. Short term, you know, I'd be looking at this one as likely putting in a nice daily low here back above about 46 cents. At that point, I'd be looking for this one to pop back up somewhere around 52 to 53 cents. And this would look still okay long term. The weekly is what I'd be going off of right here. You've already played out the bearish divergence going all the way back. You hit the 55. I mean, that's fine. I look at this as a local low first and foremost and likely to trade back up from there and invalidation very easily below about 37 cents. And, you know, at that point, yeah, you got big problems. But for right now, I think that's actually a good little base for this one. Just want to see it on the short-term time frames pop back above basically like, what is this, 46.5 cents or so, something like that. And G squared, appreciate that, man. My fucking man. All right, and we'll do Ben 0613, last one. Okay, sir. XCAD. All right, what the fuck is this? On KuCoin. Actually okay right here. Actually okay. Does have a higher low. Probably going to pop back up and test about 837 to 840 or so. Breaking above about 835 on even a full hour. Let's use a daily. This is a major breakout right here. This is actually pretty good, man. Closing above about 835, and I would be looking for this one to travel up short term to probably to $9 over the next few days. I'd only invalidate this one as short term bullishness below about 730. So not bad right there. Not bad right there. Yeah, only invalidation below about 737 on a 4 hour. Until then, actually one of the more interesting charts, to be fair. So maybe I'll write that one down too. Follow up on that one. All right, cool. I think we are at the end of this video right here. Again, I do think that the possibilities, because of the way that traditional markets are operating right now, for Bitcoin to actually push through where it currently is at, have increased. The probabilities of that have increased, but I still either want to see a continuation above yesterday's high, or what would be very, very convincing for Bitcoin putting in a major macro low here would be popping back above $54,000 and closing a daily there. Basically your last technical breakdown and also the 0.5 retracement right there. A little bit lower than that, to be fair, but anywhere above there on a daily closure, I don't think that Bitcoin's going to have that next swing to the downside. Until then, as long as Bitcoin's living below, especially 52, I do think that there's a threat of that, and that's why I'm not really being super aggressive today or the last few days. Until then, basically same range essentially. So I'm gonna be signing off now. I want to wish everyone well. It's been an absolute pleasure again on this Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Wednesday. Anyways, have a nice Wednesday in your life. It's a hump day. So do some humping action, and I'm going to be signing off now. Take care, and hopefully see you very soon as Elsa waves in the background. And until next time.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, find it, drop it, crack it, lose it, curse it, pay it, to it, pay it, bar it, chart it, hide it, fight it, deal it, seal it, and unlock it, back it, send it, change it, lend it, mine it, find it, how it, test it, trace it, curse it, trash it, hash it, scroll it, troll it, and upgrade it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, click, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, write it, code it, name it, read it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it.